What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 13 La Chapter 381, Legion of the Living Dead, advertisement. The space Masada fell into was unpredictable, but the people in this space made Masada unable to ignore it. In this layer of space, the 5 people are not others, but the 5 heavenly kings. Hey, the handsome guy is chasing me, am I too attractive for my big sister? Kalen, you're still talking coldly. This kid is very difficult, even in the heyday of All Might, he can't compare to him, right? A generation of newcomers will change to the old, and the fruit will be terrible, but it is also the era, the strongest person is still all for one. The man with the revolver was now dressed in a western cowboy costume, and the muzzle put it on your lips and blow gently. She said she was very scared of Masada, but they didn't seem to panic at all. Behind them is a round gate. Sorry, boy, I can't let you run around. The progress of the research is still a bit short. I originally wanted you to make a research sample, but now it seems that your threat is still greater than the value of the experiment. Boom, a bullet was shot. Masada turned his head, and the bullet slashed past his face, bringing up a restricted wind, and then a huge explosion 470 exploded in the space behind. It was still the spherical explosion. A huge circular cavity appeared in the rear. Masada didn't look back because it didn't make sense. The reaction is quite fast. Masada squinted slightly, and the lava kingdom unfolded directly. Bang! Fists interlaced, and punched the brawny man in the face. However, the opponent just ran with him and didn't fall to the ground. Obviously it is 10 times the strength, and it is still unable to defeat the opponent. A woman looking too far to one side. Masada only noticed that the brawny man's hands were actually healed. However, Masada noticed something more terrifying. He discovered that the woman slashed directly at the brawny man's face. Just when Masada was shocked by this confusing move, the brawny man actually grew ahead again. Aren't you surprised? If you call me, big sister, I can tell the little brother your sister my quirk. The woman winked at Masada. How can Masada have the plot of pitying and cherishing Jade? Even if there is, it is definitely not the one who fell to the evil side. Masada looked at the woman, and the woman's body directly burned with lava. What a cruel method, little brother. However, the woman's voice came from another place. Advertisement. Masada looked back and found that the woman was standing behind him safe and sound. The blade of the dagger was about to reach her back. Wow! Masada directly turned into lava and dissipated, and stood up in another place. It's really annoying. What is this group of people quirk? You can play the revolver with different effects of bullets. And the man who slashed lava with a knife, and a woman who is very physically strong, and a woman who can regenerate her limbs, and a magician who can turn people out of sight. Masada didn't know their specific quirk at all, and only thought that the quirks of these people were very annoying, and it was even more troublesome than the 5-member group he had encountered before. The brawny man alone is the full strength of the first form of Masada enhanced version. And these 5 people should not have much difference in strength, and the 5 people cooperate with each other, which is definitely not the effect of 1 + 1 greater than 2. Ben Lang, blockade. Good. Hearing the order from the revolver man, the man with the knife moved in an instant. At that moment, before he saw the other party draw his sword, he saw countless blade lights rushing toward him like seawater, endless and endless, like the waves of the Yellow River pushing one after another. The knife light was so dense that there was only one thin hair, densely covering Masada's entire field of vision. Just raise your hand and block. The lava walls broke out of the ground. The walls were straight protruding like ground thorns, but these walls were actually shattered by the light of the knife. Spray. Masada can only dissipate directly. The light of the CDEI knife cuts through the space, leaving 1,000 wounds on the lava kingdom. The knife marks are densely carved on the lava wall. Even if the lava flows, it cannot be eliminated. After the opponent finished the knife, he put the knife into its sheath and closed his eyes. Masada put away all his contempt, and he really encountered the most powerful villains combination. Not to mention that each of these 5 people has the strength to fight him alone. If you look around, you will die. Bang! One. A shot was fired, and before the sound of the gunshot reached Masada's ears, the bullet had been embedded in the heart of his lava body. Bang! The lava body exploded and turned to ashes. Masada sneaked a sweat in his heart, but fortunately, the body that just appeared was not the main body, but a lava shape of him. Masada, at this moment, his mind is placed on the lower layer. Advertisement. The bottom layer is separated by a very thick board, and the material is special. But under that board is the core of the earth. Jung Tai's heart was moving in Lee. He felt that he was not at peace, and he was more excited than meeting the girl before. It's like putting hormones on the body. What seems to be in the core of the earth? However, the threats ahead must also be avoided. The swordsman drew out the sword again. This time, he methodically swung the sword towards the surrounding space. These knife marks were engraved in the space. Masada could feel that he had less control over the space. The other party also came into contact with the realm of the field. But I was too surprised to find that he could actually catch the swordsman's every move. The swordman's movements became extremely slow. Masada felt that all the opponent's movements were recorded in his own mind, and these movements even merged into Masada's body. Masada felt a little bit, and suddenly felt that his mind was as clear as a mirror, so he appeared as a real body. A red dress is unpretentious. Lava creates a thing, turning lava into a simple garment. Masada had a lava knife in his hand, and that knife looked the same as the knife in the hands of the man in the black tights. Masada put his hand on the handle of the knife, and a burst of momentum spread. "Are you challenging me?" The man in the black tights had a tight body, like a beast about to emerge from the cage. It's so plain that the heart is like still water. "Call," the gunfire rang. "Ha ha ha. Who will pick one with you? You have to know, you are facing 5 people now. Call out." One point of the knife is connected into a line. A thin red knife light slashed across, and the bullet split into 2, passing the left and right sides of the knife along Masada's side. Boom. The violent explosion split into 2 halves and sounded behind Masada. But the revolver gunman who was too far ahead had a red bloodline on his neck. His head fell down as Jungta took the knife. Chapter 382. Legion of the Living Dead, 9. Advertisement. But after this moment, the magician and the woman with the knife suddenly came from the side. The woman cut off his head with a single knife. Then the man's neck grew again, and a whole head was up again. Masada didn't move at this time. Her heart was still like water. She just put her hand on the knife. Looking at the front with his eyes closed, he is watching with his heart. Although there is darkness in his eyes, he has a complete understanding of all the creatures in this space in his heart. He felt that the woman was not using her ability to bring this person back to life. It was because he put a layer of yellow medicine on the surface of the knife, and when the medicine was applied to the section, a new head was immediately grown. Think of things before. After the woman gave the strong man a shot, the strong man's strength immediately increased tenfold. And that magician, his power should be more than just teleportation. That swordsman, his ability should be related to space. Masada felt that he had entered a very mysterious state. If you want to describe this state, perhaps, epiphany is more appropriate. The knife man looked at Jengma and he felt danger. In this case, let me see if it's yours or mine. The words have been said, just before a while. The two moved at the same time, and then they passed by. I was just looking for a knife flower, and inserted the knife into the scabbard. Behind it, the black swordman in the tights did not move. As the handle of the sword merged with the scabbard, there was a ding sound. 8 thin blood stains appeared on the person's body, and then his body exploded and turned into 8 petals. The woman appeared again, trying to save his companion. But Masada waved the knife again, and thin knife marks appeared in the space. The magician suddenly appeared behind the woman and pulled her away. Good risk, almost. However, after the death of the swordsman, Masada felt that his ability to use swords continued to decline. About 2 or 3 seconds later, Masada can no longer use a knife at all. But in these 2 or 3 seconds, no one dared to move. Because it was too horrible, Masada just broke out inexplicably, and actually solved one of their members, Admiral, in an instant. Originally, they were confident that no matter what kind of attack Masada made, they would be able to hinder and countermeasures. Advertisement. But everything was too fast just now. The magician did not have time to take the swordsman away, the woman did not have time to heal, and the brawny man did not pass, because with his body, he could not take up this fierce attack. And the man holding the revolver was filling the bullets. Bang bang bang. No longer stalemate, the revolver man fired 3 shots again, but this time, the moment he fired, he was moved to another position by the magician. After all, he was directly killed by a spike before, giving him a psychological shadow. Masada didn't hardwire, but dodged 2 bullets by dodge. But then he found that there was a bullet behind him. So the lava barrier unfolded, blocking the bullet. Boom. The barrier collided with the bullet and exploded violently. A shadow suddenly appeared behind him, and it was a strong man who flew over with the magician's spatial ability. A close fight with Masada. Masada turned around and kicked first. After that, they started a fierce close-knit in midair. The speed was so fast that they couldn't even see their body movements. Only 2 gusts of wind danced in the air. And the sound of fists to the flesh came from the wind. Boom. Suddenly a figure fell sharply and smashed into the lava. But then the figure disappeared immediately. It was a strong man covered in lava. His physique is so strong that lava can't hurt him, but Masada's physical stamina is indeed not lost to him. Get out. How do you treat the guests? When the battle was anxious, a voice suddenly came. I looked too at the source of the sound. I saw that the door slowly opened, and a figure in a black evening dress appeared from the door. Masada expanded his lava kingdom again. You? Yes, it's me. We met again. That person is not someone else, but the person Masada saw through the screen in the basement at the time. The one who wanted to bury them alive. Advertisement. Your quirk is a little more powerful than I expected. I didn't expect you to come out of that underground, nor did you expect you to survive under the chase of fighters, and even survive for so long under the hands of my 5 heavenly kings. For flowers, the man in the tuxedo bit the lollipop, counted his fingers, and counted out the unbelievable ones one by one. Looking at him too coldly, the man in front of him exudes a sense of crisis, which is much higher than the 5 heavenly kings. I thought that your strength is at most equivalent to the sum of 2 or 3 of my 5 heavenly kings. I didn't expect you to be able to play 5 in 1. This is beyond my expectation. Bite the stick. The lollipop man squinted and smiled, not caring that he was wrapped in the lava realm. However, around him, circles of black appeared. The lava of Masada was completely isolated from the outside. It's nothing but miscellaneous fish. You use this technique for crime and turn the whole city into a city of the living dead. Wouldn't it be heartache for you to slaughter the city like this? 0. Heartache? I don't think it. I just think it's a pity that this experiment failed. I didn't expect the success rate of this medicine to be so low. If you inject the popularized version of the medicine into the body of ordinary people, you will lose your consciousness during your lifetime. The eyes shook his head helplessly. Continued to say, what I want is an army of living dead who can consciously have quirks, not stupid zombies who can only bite people. Buzz. Just too tight. Die. But the swordsman is no longer there, and Masada is an absolute advantage in the field. The Kingdom of Darkness. This is also the same domain ability as him. Now facing him too much, he no longer has domain advantages and no more space to control. A circle of black spread from the soles of his feet, and a substance like ink slowly spread out, and Masada's lava country was actually eroded by black. No longer retain any strength. Long. The voice of a strong man came from behind. Soon a half-dark and half-lava situation formed. The squinted man said softly. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Suddenly know what abilities the other party has mastered. Boom, the brawny man was completely blown by a punch and turned into a blood spatter. I turned my head too much and punched. Masada flicked his cloak, and his muscles tightened. Originally, the 4 of them had already been downsized. As long as they were slowly grinding down, they would surely be able to solve all of them. The swordsman specifically broke Masada's spatial control, so Masada could not fully control the existence in his domain. Nuclear Bomb Punch Kingdom. Chapter 383 Legion of the Living Dead, 10. Advertisement red lines appeared on Masada's body, and the bright red lines were branded on the battle uniform, just like a tattoo. Masada's hair also turned red, and the cap in the battle uniform was dropped. The function of this peaked cap is actually to suppress quirk. Because Masada's quirk is too strong, ordinary training can't exercise Masada's ability. If you really want to improve your ability, you can only suppress the quirk, first suppress and then stimulate your potential. Kill him. The remaining 3 screamed. However, as soon as they spoke, a big hole appeared in their chest at the same time. The woman took the knife in horror, and the sharp knife struck her chest. However, all she got in exchange was to separate herself up and down. Because the liquid medicine on the knife has been evaporated by the extreme high temperature. I was looking at the villains in front of me coldly. 470. As long as there is no danger of death, absolutely don't take off this hat. This is what the Trillions said. But the opponent is also a strong player in the field. Oh, is there any hidden strength? The man who was biting the lollipop didn't panic when he saw that Jungtae lifted the seal of power. He calmly raised his hand to Jungtae and said, don't you consider joining our organization? If we join hands, we will definitely become the twin kings of the new world. I am the Black King, and you are the Red King. Everything in this world is under our control. Is this bad? Killed and killed. Masada slowly fell to the ground full of boiling lava. Now Masada's muscles are in a tight state, and there is still lava flowing on her body. The red hair was flying, and it matured again in an instant. Sounds tempting. Masada replied coldly. Right? The 2 of us have almost the strongest power in the world. Why bother to fight to death? We 2 join hands. This world is ours. The black guy looked at Masada with excitement, feeling Masada he is about to agree to his proposal. I reject. Why? Advertisement a loud voice sounded. Masada has appeared in front of the opponent, raising his fist as if to hit the opponent in the face. However, Masada's fist dragged a long tail flame, but it seemed to be trapped in a quagmire made of rubber glue, and he couldn't make any further progress in front of the other party. Boom. A violent explosion exploded in front of the opponent's face, and Masada disappeared in front of him. The man who was biting the lollipop took the lollipop down and blew lightly, blowing away the dust and smoke of the explosion. Why? Boom. This time Masada fell from a high altitude, slashing with 1 foot like a sickle, carrying a raging flame. However, it was the same as just now, as if stuck in a gummy, full of resilience. Cut. Masada disappeared again and returned to his lava territory. The man biting the lollipop said, Lava and power, my offensiveness is not as strong as yours. It's an enviable power, such a powerful destructive power, such a beautiful body, and such a burst of energy. Enviable. Then he chuckled and said gloomily, although you are very powerful, you can't break my dirty water darkness anyway, right? After speaking, a row of weapon racks appeared from the black ink-like ground in front of him. In the next instant, all the weapons on the weapon rack stood up, arranged like stars, and shot towards Masada. Masada dodged all the attacks after a few dodges, but those attacks remained in Masada's lava field and turned into black spots. Darkness is really an annoying ability, but the biggest advantage of darkness is erosion. Although it is not a very strong offensive ability, it can be won by slowly eroding villains, through tolerance and calculation. The man was still talking endlessly. Masada attacked again, with a big hand, the lava realm turned up big waves, and the billowing lava rushed towards the dark realm like a tsunami. However, while Jungtae did this, the man gently waved his hand, erecting black water like waves from the ground, and rushed towards Jungtae. The two big waves collided and the entire space shook. The ground was cracked, the ceiling fell with earth and rocks, and the whole space seemed to be chaotic. Masada took this opportunity to get close. Advertisement. Nuclear explosive punch change country. This punch included the power of the entire lava kingdom, and it became a small kingdom in the punch, and then burst out. Masada used this punch to blast the brawny man's arm before, which was a move that Masada realized in this encounter. And now, the Masada who had unlocked the seal and opened the lava kingdom again, the power of this punch was 100 times stronger than before. Boom! The entire dark realm was suddenly shrunk by Masada's punch, and all the darkness retracted in front of the man. The explosive power is constantly being disintegrated. The punch that Masada had just finished was extremely exhausting, and there was no more power to continue the big killing attack. The man seemed to have a natural barrier around him. The closer he was, the more he was repelled, as if he had an eternal repulsion. A brilliant light burst out in the darkness, and the light even tore through the black water condensed into a ball. Wow, sure enough, if it's normal, I guess I can't beat you, the man admitted. Masada was right in front of him, but he couldn't get close. Burst one on the other side, the dark realm wrapped in a ball expanded again, and inside was a pale-faced man. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The man calmly took out a needle from the package and made gestures toward his neck. It is approaching too quickly. This speed is as fast as lightning, so fast that you can't see anything. 4.8. However, Masada couldn't get close to the whole body of the man. He jumped too far, gasping for breath. This punch was quite a drain on him. It could be said that he used most of his power, and his lava kingdom was a little dim. But even so, the power of this punch is still extremely powerful. But on the black water ground, a bag unexpectedly appeared, just as he could see that it was the woman's pocket. There was a trace of blood on the corner of the man's mouth, and he seemed to have coughed up blood. As he said, he lightly shot this shot in his neck. He approached and said to Masada, "This woman's quirk is a very rare pharmaceutical. You killed her like this. Our organization has suffered a heavy loss. And without this woman, the side effects of this drug are quite big, but since your opponent is you, it is worth the shot." Chapter 384 Red King 1. Advertisement. When the shot went down, Masada's pupils suddenly shrank. The man in front of him seemed to have changed his life. The surrounding dark sea was surging, and many dark tentacles appeared in the dark domain. However, a tentacle was faster than Masada, and directly hit Masada's stomach. With a loud bang, Masada was pumped by this tentacle and flew directly onto the lava wall in his domain. The dark realm expanded instantly, and it suppressed Masada's lava realm. Masada can only maintain the realm within a radius of about 5 meters under his feet. And everything around him is nothing but darkness. Heaven is crying. It was raining red from the sky. High laughs. The dark waves churned, and there were bursts of banshee laughter. The man moved in front of Masada in an instant, and Masada only saw a face suddenly appeared in front of him. Then the scenery changes. One Masada was hit to the end of the dark realm, sinking into the wall and being swallowed by the black water. 23. Red King, Red King. It's still too late to regret it now. Look at how nice the name I gave you, the Red King, the red lava, the power of the explosion. I want to share the beauty of the world with you, but what about you? The young man appeared in front of Masada again. There was no one in him now, with scales all over his body, and his hair turned into a hedgehog head, as hard as steel. His pupils turned white, but the whites of his eyes turned black. His long nails were as black as ink, and he gently stroked Masada's face with his nails. It was too disgusting. But the attack just now was too painful, making Masada twitching all over his body. The combat effectiveness of the two seems to no longer be of the same level. Masada braved the lava with both hands, and freed herself from the dark realm. Pooh, he spat on the man's face. Boom, Masada only felt a sharp pain, and then was beaten into the darkness in the ground. This time he was completely plunged into the water of darkness. Everything around is dark, and perception is weakened. It seems to be isolated from the world. Advertisement. Masada can't see anything, can't touch anything, even if the body is lit with lava, there is no light. Breathing also becomes difficult. Masada summoned all his strength and rushed upwards, and finally surfaced. The lava field can only wrap his body, wrapping him like a film of lava. The film gangs in this area are too weakening a lot of damage. You know, there will be an increase in the realm. If the blow just now was taken in the dark realm, it is too presumed to be dead. In the realm of Masada, he not only did not strengthen, but also weakened. But even so, Masada felt that his body had received a great blow. This blow was distributed throughout the body, not which organ had a problem. It's just like getting hurt during elementalization, it's just all aspects of damage, and there won't be any serious injuries. Maximize combat capabilities. Has always been able to exert the greatest combat effectiveness. Can I only wait for him to have the effect? When the man came again, Masada could only dodge, but in the dark water, his actions were as inconvenient as glue stuck. Masada can only raise her hands to block. A layer of red lava carapace is attached to his hand. However, a black claw mark was torn off, leaving a huge scar on my hand, and the lava carapace was torn to pieces. The scars on the hands are deeply visible, but then Masada's wound filled with lava and gradually recovered. Although it recovered, it also consumed physical energy and vitality. Dong 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 yi, suddenly the heart beats violently. Masada felt the feeling of being called again. The hand shines brightly again. Nuclear boxing change country. The man was almost subconsciously defensive, and even if he was in a strengthened state, this punch was not delicious. However, Masada's punch, it suddenly smashed into the water. Boom! The black domain was broken open. Masada took this opportunity to jump out of the domain directly. Below is a thick alloy plate. Advertisement: Masada can't take care of her physical energy and life consumption at all. Nuclear explosive punch change, country. Boom! The third punch was blasted. The power of this punch was already smaller than the previous two punches. I don't know how much, but I still punched the thick alloy plate. Do you think you can escape the Dark Realm? The man felt that he was humiliated. He spread the Dark Realm again, and wrapped Masada again. All of this happened in an instant. When Masada slammed the third national nuclear explosion punch, the Dark Realm had already wrapped him. At the next moment, a violent light burst out from the ground. Passing through the Dark Realm like fireworks, the violent light directly hit Masada. What is this? Masada was bathed in the light and disappeared. After a while, the light faded, but then, a more intense light shining from the water of darkness. Masada's whole body of light broke through the water of darkness. He stood on the water of darkness, with a layer of light spreading under his feet, like the elven water of the lake. The golden light spread over half of the field, and the billowing golden lava gradually boiled. The lines on Masada's body still changed from fiery red to golden. I have one more reason for killing you. Masada's hair also became golden and white intertwined 470. At this time, Masada looked like a lava quirk, more like a user of a light quirk. Is it the core of the earth? After breaking the barrier, the high temperature and high pressure needs a catharsis, so you vent it through the hole you made. The black man touched his chin, thinking carefully. Then he laughed again. Do you think you have a chance to win? I have thought of this situation a long time ago, so there is a voltage stabilizing device in this space, and the lava eruption is only temporary. Are you waiting for me to defeat me after the medicine is over? Unfortunately, the side effect of this medicine is to keep this tragic state forever. I sacrificed my handsome face in order to get more powerful strength to crush you. Originally, this world no longer has any power to rival me, but for you alone, I actually have to sacrifice my handsome face. Yan, how sad this is. The man was crying with his face in his arms. A blazing light penetrated. The man dodges quickly. The light brushed the side of the man's head and directly penetrated the barrier of the dark field, revealing a hole. It is your greatest sin to make innocent people suffer. How sad that the wicked are still mourning for their looks. Masada's whole body exudes a sacred breath, and his body seems to have undergone some strange changes. Chapter 385 Red King. 2. Advertisement. That's right, this is the Red King the first. No. I have checked your information a long time ago, and I have been invincible all the way to become a person of hero, S. The person most like hero, S. And has surpassed no hero, S. Of one. The man wiped the corners of his mouth, revealing the evil scent on his face. How can you be defeated by a little evil like this? I am very excited to fight with you. I am also a fighting genius. Everyone calls me a fighting genius. My domain ability is to learn from you. Yeah. He yelled. Black wings grew from the back, bone spurs grew from the elbows, and the nose became an eagle's nosehook. The whole body's cells grew wildly like cancer cells, and then turned into bulging muscles. Masada's body was covered with golden light, and faint ripples flowed on her body. Although the lava did not burst like before, it had become even more hot, which was like the hotness of the Earth's core. Light and heat are always one family. Light Kingdom, unfold. Masada stepped out, and the ripples spread under his feet, and the golden lava, which was still boiling, smoothed under the ripples, like a mirror surface. In the dark sea, the sea was tumbling, and the tentacles were slapped against the surface of the sea, causing layers of waves. On the other side, the Kingdom of Light is as bright as a mirror, calm without any flaws. Masada stood on the light surface, while the demon-like man flew in the air with his wings spread. The tentacles suddenly attacked, and the tentacles in the entire sea stabbed at Masada one by one. In the Kingdom of Light, the rays of light turned into sharp swords, descending from the sky one by one, and these sharp swords nailed the tentacles to the ground of the light. These tentacles immediately burned when they touched the smooth surface and turned into ashes, and then the ashes fell into the smooth surface and disappeared without any trace. I closed my eyes too much, and included all the space in my own perception. Then gently waved his hand, and a giant sword condensed on his head. This giant sword was completely condensed by light, and pressed down. The giant sword flew out, penetrated the space, and directly hit the demon-like man. The demon man looked like he was in great pain. His face was distorted, his whole body twisted around the wall, but he couldn't get rid of this giant sword. He was nailed to the wall, like Jesus was nailed to the cross. Behind Masada appeared densely small swords. These small swords are all normal size, and then Wan Jian inspired. Charged towards the demon like raindrops. Advertisement. Where does the devil sit and wait for death? With just one wave, the Black Sea roared, and the tentacles rose up, slapped constantly, slapped down the small sword one by one. Blast, boom. The huge sword burst. The devil was gone. However, Masada felt a crisis coming from behind her. Turning his head quickly, only a grimace suddenly appeared behind him. The demon nailed by the giant sword was actually a fake. The devil was holding a dagger in his hand, 7 of which were black and green. It was very bad at first sight. Masada stepped back quickly, and then drew a lightsaber in his hand. Suddenly, on the surface of the light, swords and swords rain, the rays of light in the sky chasing the black figure like needles. Zheng Tai keeps retreating, but the other party is like a ghost, like a shadow. I have to say that the other party's speed is really true. S has reached the point of indescribable. I could only see a black mist wandering, and Masada could only block it by instinct. The light rain in the sky has been chasing the smoke and dust, but Masada is also struggling to deal with the black tentacles coming from the dark realm. Ding! The two collided again, and the two immediately jumped away. In front of Masada, the light rain fell down, and at the same time a huge tentacles hit the ground where Masada had just stood. The place where the two are fighting has long been not limited to the domain of the two, but constantly shuttles between the two domains. When Masada chases and kills the other party to the dark domain, it will become the other party's counterattack. When the opponent attacked, they would be attacked by countless rains of light, and their strength in the field was not weakened at all. The battle has been stalemate, but what can't be changed is that the ground is almost collapsed by them. The ground was shaking endlessly, as if an earthquake had occurred. Masada is very grateful that the reinforcements have not come. If they are involved in this battle, let alone helping themselves, they may even become a drag on themselves. A light blade slashed out. It split the dark realm into two, but this situation only lasted for a moment, and soon the dark realm returned to its original state. The power of the Earth's core is nothing more than that. I thought it was so powerful. When you just appeared full of light, I was really shocked. I thought that God really appeared in this world to punish me, but now it seems, but so. God does not exist. As long as I kill you, the strongest person in this world will be me. Advertisement. The demon laughed wildly, swung his dagger into a whirlwind, and kept shooting down the incoming light rain. Even if it was dense like rain, the opponent was almost enough to slash the rain. In this state, the strength of the body and the strength of the quirk have become absolute, and it is no longer a gap that can be balanced by combat skills. In this kind of battle, the two can't even distinguish their minds in fighting skillfully. The scene is chaotic to the extreme. Darkness and light have been blended together, the light and black areas have been broken up, and now only light and darkness remain in the entire space. It looks like a fused Tai Chi picture, looking chaotic. Masada and the other party are also fighting in this space. The two seem to have inexhaustible power. Each collision will cause a strong wind pressure to spread, and each collision is like a small nuclear bomb blast. In this unclear world, time seems to have been blurred. Both are looking for a chance to kill each other. Ms. Zhao, S. The light above Masada's hands was already so bright that he couldn't look directly at him. It completely surpassed the light of the sun, and the distortion of the opponent's body has been exaggerated to completely separate from human beings, and the darkness of the opponent is pure to the point of absorbing any light. Vaguely, he was constantly devouring the light, using the ability to swallow to continuously strengthen his strength. And Masada seems to have inexhaustible power. The more he fights, the more courageous. Boom! When it collided again, it was as if the sky broke and the earth broke. The entire space was shaken 3 times, and the walls on all sides were cracked because of the shock, and bricks and mud fell. Completely trapped, the ground has been completely buried. Oops! Masada thought that there were still hostages held underground, as well as innocent human beings. So he immediately reduced his strength, but it was this opportunity to be taken advantage of by the devil. Chapter 386 Red King 3. Advertisement. What? A bloodstain appeared on Masada's chest, and this bloodstain gradually became black, as if the huge paw prints on Masada's chest could not disappear. The dark energy on it is wandering. Although Masada now looks like a normal human body, his body is actually made of high-strength lava, which is more like a light body. Normal physical damage can't hurt Masada at all, but the monster in front of him is different. He has a powerful dark element ability. The blow he just made was corroding Masada's body. However, because Masada had a strong recovery ability, he was not directly eaten away by him. If someone else suffers this blow, it is estimated that they will die directly from the wound. You are afraid. You are afraid of hurting others. Ha ha ha. The devil smiled unscrupulously, releasing his abilities even more arrogantly. With a single stroke of his hand, the golden sky was pressed down, constraining all the powers in this small space. But on the contrary, those injuries that shouldn't have fallen on Masada were all taken over by Masada. Haha. Do you still have the power to protect others? You can't protect yourself. Red King, what a wonderful thing you said to build a new world with me. You originally have such a powerful force. There is no need to be with this group. The miscellaneous fish are on the same level. Now what? You actually want to protect a group of miscellaneous fish in order to become a 470 ridiculous hero. That group of fish is not as valuable as you. Trash fish. The demon roared, tearing his face was distorted. His whole person is constantly being eaten away by the darkness, and now he is completely human, like a dark chaotic sphere, but in the sphere, limbs stretch out. The limbs are like the legs of a spider, but the cloth is covered, full of thorns. Some of those thorns went deep into the void, and some floated softly like roots. However, when attacking and killing, whether it is a soft or hard thorn, it will become a very big threat to Masada. The weapons in Masada's hands changed and changed, knives, guns and clubs, and they were not limited to one kind. No matter what angle they came from, Masada could cope with the attack. However, Masada's only concern is that this space is becoming more and more unstable, and it may collapse at any time, causing great harm to the outside world. He must be beheaded in an instant. Gradually, this chaotic space began to become clear again, the light gathered, swimming towards Masada, and the darkness was driven away from Masada. The light on Masada's body is getting more and more intense, CDEI. But because he separated his mind to gather light, Masada suffered another wound on his chest. Advertisement. With full concentration, Masada gathered the light into his heart. This force comes from the core of the earth, the power of the planet. Masada took back all the radiant lava, and felt as if a planet was gestating in her body for a moment, and there seemed to be an extra flame in her body. This ball of flame is spherical, burning, raging, and the heat is extremely amazing. Boom! Masada once again cut away the roots stabbed by the opponent with a single sword, but the roots regenerate immediately, endlessly. The origin of this power was actually not simply because Masada had come into contact with the core of the earth, but had a very special reason, and this reason became one of the reasons Masada must kill the opponent. But at the moment, the battle is urgent and there is no time to recall that feeling. Gather a little. Get to the top. Masada just cut off the opponent's roots. After that, without any warning, he approached in front of the opponent in an instant, and a sword crashed. Boom! In the sky, the clouds saw the sun, and a thick light fell from the sky. A blazing light broke through the darkness, making the demon hidden in the darkness look extremely ugly. The sacred flame burned the opponent's body, and this blow used all the energy too much. The flames burning with the devil spread out wave after wave, sweeping across the entire dark realm. Masada did not stop chasing. Instead, the lightsaber in his hand exuded dim rays of light, was chasing sword after sword. Every blow they have exhausted all their power. A series of light blades penetrated the devil's body and hit the end of the darkness, breaking through the dark space and inlaid into the wall. And Masada kept repeating this action, only feeling that from behind the devil's body, endless light blades were continuously emitted, light blades combo, flying like butterflies. I don't know how long it took to cut, but Masada finally released his strength, and the Dark Kingdom had long since disappeared, leaving a scorched black body, motionless on the ground like ashes. Lying on the ground too weakly, it can be said that he has no strength at all. He just attacked suddenly, betting that he could kill the opponent. If he can't kill, Masada will die. Now Masada can't move a finger, and has changed back to the most ordinary state. Now let alone the demon who unfolded the dark realm, he can't beat even the grapes. He was breathing too much, and he felt that he only had the strength to breathe, and only panting could restore his strength. But every time you recover a little bit of physical strength, you will be exhausted by your own muscles. Advertisement. Masada didn't look at his body, only felt that his body seemed to be weakened a lot. Masada's head moved sideways with gravity. Da da da. The sound of footsteps sounded. Masada's spirit was suddenly shaken. If there is still villains at this time, even any miscellaneous soldier can put him to death. But Masada did not have the strength to look up, only a pair of white and tender legs and a pair of red canvas shoes. Who is it? As he couldn't see his face, he couldn't even lift his eyes. Elder brother. This voice is Igarashi Supper. It seems to be dead. Masada remembers that the other party has been given an order to kill him. Should I kill her in the first place? The opponent cannot be hurt in the hot lava, so it is normal to be able to avoid the aftermath of his lava kingdom. The opponent is a member of the devil's side, so it is possible that the devil deliberately avoids the impact and does not harm him. A muscle in Masada's face moved. This is the largest category he can move now. His move was just to laugh at. The power just now was actually lent to her by this little girl. Is there any loan or repayment? Masada recalled what happened just now, the matter of breaking the ground and getting through the core of the earth. At that time, Masada was wrapped in the flames rushing out of the earth's core. Masada felt that he could control this endless power, but he could only control the external core lava, and couldn't turn it into his own use. But what followed was the memory of a little girl. Masada has seen the life of the little girl. The quirk possessed by this little girl is a compound quirk, and one of the quirks is soul transmission. Chapter 387. Red King. 4. Advertisement. The little girl is a child from an ordinary family in the Stars and Stripes. She was found to have a strong quirk when she was young. The name of that quirk is adaptation. When the little girl comes into contact with cold water, she will quickly adapt to the cold water. At this time, Cold water will treat her as room temperature without any difference. When a little girl learns something, the learning speed will be very fast. When the little girl is hit by ice, fire, lightning, etc., she will quickly become immune to it. It can be said to be a very top quirk. She also stands out with this quirk. At the age of 12, she was invited by a strange organization to do research. The price set by this organization is very high. The little girl happened to have a serious illness with her mother and had no money to send to the doctor. This kind of thing is not once or twice. So the little girl made up her mind, and used her quirk to study it with the people in this institute and exchange it for a certain amount of money. But I didn't expect that the boss in this organization was actually AFO, but AFO couldn't get away from this little girl's quirk, because he had removed another person's quirk in front of the little girl. So the little girl has the ability to do it, the antibody. So the little girl became a trade item and was resold to the hands of the devil. At this time, the devil was just a young man biting a lollipop, and his quirk was only darkness, creating a darkness, making people lose common quirk of vision perception. This organization is also a criminal gang, but the difference is that they have been running around with the little girl as the main combat force, but the little girl is resistant to these. However, because of the contract quirk for organizing one of them, the little girl could not defy their orders and had to obediently follow them. Things developed quickly. Suddenly, one day, the boss of the organization who was biting the lollipop received a mysterious telegram. They trapped the little girl in the dungeon. They only gave her a little bread every day, and they always had to use it regularly. The needle draws blood from the little girl's body. The little girl didn't know how long it took until one day, the little girl saw an individual who looked exactly like herself appeared in front of her. The girl who looked the same as herself smiled and picked up the dagger, and the little girl killed it. However, the little girl's consciousness has not disappeared. She feels that her consciousness is still in the body. This is the second quirk of the little girl, the sustenance of the soul. The soul after death will not dissipate, but will turn into consciousness retention. However, the little girl did not escape, but the person in charge of the corpse was thrown into the incinerator leading to the core of the earth. The little girl's consciousness was pinned in the core of the earth, and gradually she adapted to the core, which is the power to adapt to the core. When Masada broke the floor leading to the core of the earth, the little girl's soul also followed the magma gushing through the core and passed through Masada's body. Masada thus got the little girl's memory. In addition, the quirk of the other party was merged briefly to adapt to the dark and control the light. Advertisement: the quirks of the two merge together, and after a qualitative change, a bright form of Masada will appear. As a hero, Masada dispels the darkness, and the girl is deeply troubled and yearns for the light. The power of the will formed a strong bond, and two people who had never met before formed the power to penetrate the darkness at the moment when the souls merge. But this power is someone else's after all. Masada didn't even have the strength to close his eyes. I watched the girl come over, step by step, like the pace of death. Since being born, Masada has not been so powerless. Even in infancy, it will not be as weak as it is now. As soon as she saw it, the girl dropped her hand. Holding a head in his hand, she walked so slowly. Hello, Igarashi Masada brother. The voice coming from Masada's ears was also blurred, but she still heard clearly. As a little girl and his own creation, the other party is indeed an older brother. Does this count as your own child? He has his own quirk gene, but also inherited the little girl's appearance completely. Speaking of it, maybe he is the child of the little girl who has never met. I use my last strength too much. I closed my eyes. Ding, there was a noise. Brother, he won't die unless he destroys his black core. Advertisement: for flowers. Masada felt that her eyelids were pulled apart, and a black bead and a dagger appeared in front of her. Brother, my name is Maria Kamiya. The spirit was shocked again. This name was not Igarashi Supper, but God Chi Maria. This name was the name that appeared in my memory just now. The owner of this name is the little girl. A delicate face appeared in front of Masada's eyes. This smile is different from Igarashi's strange smile at supper. It is a very contagious smile. That smile is the standard smile that Shenchi Maria has corrected again and again in front of the mirror. It is the most satisfying smile of the little girl. Maria Shinki sat down next to Masada. Masada knew that it was the girl's tears, and Masada suddenly felt relieved. Her eyes went dark, and she fell asleep. Long. Afterwards, Shenchi Maria followed the hole made by Masada and continued downward. It wasn't until Masada's victory that he came to Masada's side. She gently held Masada's hand, and Masada felt a warmth flowing from her hand. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. So I've been lying next to me. Masada just lay down and listened quietly. Even if he remembered it, he couldn't help it. Now he couldn't move, even the sound could not be made. This came to the vicinity where they were fighting, but because the fluctuation was too great, she could not get close. This smile couldn't be erased in Junga's memory. When Junga saw this smiling face, he was relieved. He knew that this was the real god Maria, not the Igarashi who came to kill himself. The delicate face smiled slightly at Masada. She began to slowly tell what happened to her. Thank you. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for saving from the ever-repressed core of the earth. You are my hero, She quietly looked at Masada's face, and she told Masada that the core flame that had been hit before was just above the Igarashi supper. Her soul directly entered the body of Igarashi Xiaoyi. Because the two bodies match exactly, her soul occupies Igarashi Xiaoyi's body. Originally, Igarashi Xiaoyi did not have a stable soul, and would only obey orders, so Shenchi Maria took over her body very easily. Chapter 388 Red King 5. Advertisement. When I woke up again, I finally saw dark rocks, icy alloys, and dim ground. With blue sky and white clouds, Masada is lying on the long grass. Woke up. Woke up. Masada embraced the back of his head with both hands, enjoying the breeze. You are asked to detect first and then wait for the support to arrive. Why don't you listen? It was too carelessly hum. Thousands of trillions continued to mutter. Don't listen. Do you know how terrible your injuries are? When you were discovered by us, all the muscles in your body had shrunk, and the whole person was as dry as a skeleton, giving you nourishment all the time. The liquid can't be saved. After the nutrient liquid enters your body, it seems to be swallowed and disappears without a trace. Masada raised her hand and looked at her. Her skin was crystal clear, as usual. The 470 sunlight hits the skin. It looks very beautiful. What do you look at? We gave you nutrient solutions for 3 days and 3 nights. This has filled up your lost body, and then your body slowly recovered like an inflatable ball. You have been unconscious. It's been a week. I touched my pocket too much. The phone is still there. I turned on the phone to confirm the date. It was really a week. Masada asked. How is that city? Thousands of trillions replied. Later, the professional heroes all rushed to the scene, and the mercenaries privately organized by our consortium also went to the city for rescue and clearance. Ah, yes, there are people I rescued in a convenience store on the roof of that city. I think too much. Although a week is long, it is not enough to eat an entire convenience store food. They have been rescued by helicopter. During the rescue, the door of the convenience store was full of winged zombies, or Endeavor jumped from the helicopter and rescued it himself. Masada didn't expect the mutant zombies to look for them. It seems that the energy radiation range of the final battle with the devil was too wide. Has the city been cleaned up? It's still being cleaned up. A city is too big, but the local government has sent troops to assist in the cleanup. It will be a matter of time before the cleanup is completed. Just looking at the sky in deep thought, the lava floated on the surface of the body, looming. Qianyi Trillion looked at Masada and said, You don't need to blame yourself too much. It was planted a month ago, but it suddenly broke out in one day, which caused such a tragedy. Even if you go 2 days early, you will not be able to save these people. Masada closed his eyes again. This series of events made Masada really tired. Advertisement. Unexpectedly, when I close my eyes and open my eyes, it's already dusk. Jungtai actually fell asleep unconsciously. Elder brother. Masada heard this voice and turned her head to look. She actually has a pair of ruby-like eye pupils, and her skin is white and transparent. It is because she adapts to quirk so that ultraviolet rays cannot damage her cells, so she does not produce melanin. Thank you for saving me. Jungtai smiled and said, Didn't you already thank you at that time? This time is different. Shenchi Maria pouted. Why are you here? Masada looked around. This should be the back garden of 1,000 billion trillion homes. I was taken in by the 100 billion family, and my brother 100 billion Zhao said that because I saved his friend, he can realize any wish I can do. Just blinking his eyes too much, he asked curiously, What wish do you want? My wish is to live a good life and never want to run around and abuse it anymore. So the 1,000 billion trillion brothers agreed to let me eat and drink for nothing, and give me a lot of money every month. The little girl said her wish in a serious manner. This seemingly simple wish is the life that many people yearn for. Yo, sick number. Masada got up from the grass and looked at the intersection in the back garden. Kirishima held a bunch of flowers and walked towards Masada. Are you ready to mourn? Masada couldn't help but complain. However, Kirishima chuckled twice, and suddenly flipped his hand. On the back of the bouquet, there were actually 2 big bags of skewers. I heard that you were already awake. Thousands of trillions said that you have spent the past few days using nutrient solutions and have not eaten properly. Today, I will use grilled skewers to replenish my body. The Masada heard him say that, and then asked about the aroma of the skewers. Her stomach gurgled, and she screamed unconvincingly. Hee. Kirishima hurriedly ran to Masada and handed him a bag of skewers. If Masada doesn't say anything, just pick it up and eat it. The fat beef skewers melt in your mouth and don't smell good. Masada, don't eat too fast, be careful to choke. Nodding too much, no need to see who it was, he knew they were coming, Class A classmates. Advertisement. It was Yayorozu Momo who spoke, whose family wealth can compete with the 100 billion consortium. Tai looked worried and ran to Masada's side and began to check Masada's body. Masada, are you really all right? Do you want to go to the next step of treatment? Masada was a little uncomfortable with this sudden concern. It feels like I haven't seen Yayorozu Momo in a long time. It's okay, don't worry about it. Ahem, her name. Masada wanted to resolve the misunderstanding immediately. Yayorozu Momo also increased his tone, biting his childhood sweetheart to death. There is no blood relationship, the god Chi Maria bid to death. Oh, I'm Masada's childhood sweetheart. I grew up with him from childhood to adulthood. Why have I never heard of him? He has a sister who is not related by blood. However, the younger sister actually took the lead and said, "Hello, big sister, my name is Igarashi Supper. I belong to brother Masada, a sister without blood." Yayorozu Momo stopped the inspection of Masada after hearing the words of Masada. The two are tit for tat. Masada looked behind her. Kamiki Maria was looking at Yayorozu Momo with a kind smile on her face. "Jung Tai, is this woman?" Yayorozu Momo smiled slightly and looked at Masada. Masada felt that the line of sight from Yayorozu Momo was not good. "I am brother Masada's distant sister, who came to Japan to find brother Masada. I'm just his sister, right, Nikken?" After saying that, Shenchi Maria directly attached Masada's body. "Hold Masada tightly." Jung Tai looked at Yayorozu Momo's sharp eyes, and 4.8 suddenly flashed panic in his heart. He might not have died under the fist of the dark demon, but he was about to die in Yayorozu Momo's eyes. So Masada immediately turned the head sideways, avoiding the two women's eyes. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. However, the eyes of the two women collided and sparks appeared. "Brother, who is this sister?" Chapter 389 Red King, 6. Advertisement. Masada broke free from the embrace of her sister by virtue of her superb physical fitness. Boom next to him handed him a piece of melon. Masada is holding the melon and feasting on it. Almost all the people in Class A have arrived. Everyone has brought a different kind of condolence. All Might has also come. What he brought is the same height as Masada. Masada will do it. This is very confusing, but the highlight at this time was the two women quarreling in the middle of the venue. The atmosphere in the court was tense, and it was almost impossible to fight. Masada didn't panic. 100 will not attack people casually, and Shenchi Maria, although quirk is very special, does not have much offensiveness. Justice. I was eating melons, suddenly a cold behind my back. "May Melissa? Why are you here?" Masada turned her head like a robot, her neck creaking and twisting back. "I heard that your situation is very dangerous, so I came to see you. After waiting for a few days in Japan, you finally woke up." Melissa said so. She wiped the corners of her eyes, and tears slid down from the corners of her eyes. Masada wiped her tears away from Melissa. Whoops, 23. A gunshot sounded. I returned my hand subconsciously and caught the bullet in an instant. Stabbed. A scorched voice rose. Masada looked at the bullet in his hand. Soft, Q-bombs Q bombs. Looking at Yayorozu Momo again, she was holding a pistol in her hand. Masada understood immediately and flicked the BB sticker in his hand on his head. Then he fell on his back. "Ah, I'm dead." Humph. Yayorozu Momo snorted. It was over. Masada Hihi got up from the ground. Then, to celebrate Masada's recovery. Advertisement. Celebrate Masada's recovery. I don't know when. The classmates all picked up the glasses. Cheers. The wine glasses touched each other, and for an instant, many people in black appeared around. They moved tables, chairs, and carpets. From the entrance, they pushed a number of dining carts with large plates and lids. They are extremely efficient, and within a few minutes this place becomes an open-air banquet hall. Thousands of trillions are wearing a black dress and holding a glass of wine in his hand. For the first time, he looked like a noble son in Masada's eyes. Celebrate the recovery of our hero, S. He raised the wine glass in front of Masada. A waiter next to him bent over and handed Masada a glass of wine. Masada took over the wine and clinked glasses with trillions of trillions. Celebrate my safe return. If it weren't because Masada was ahead of me, I would go first. I must have killed that girl. Bakugo's voice shouted during the banquet, and there was a lot of laughter around him. All Might looked at Masada with triumphant eyes, as if saying that this is my proud student. Afterwards, All Might walked over. Igarashi boy, this is your reward. All Might held a small notebook in both hands, and Masada took the small notebook from him. When you open it, it is the official hero, S. license. All Might, here. Don't think too much, Igarashi boy, we all see your ability and personality. As a professional hero, S. You are undoubtedly qualified. All Might put his hand on Masada's head. At that moment, Masada seemed to feel the inheritance of iteration. Newly promoted hero, S. Igarashi Masada. But at this moment, Masada had a name flashed by his mind, Red King. What the black demon called himself. Lava Hero, S. Igarashi Masada. Lava Hero, S. Kirishima roared. Then the whole scene boiled. Lava Hero, S. Lava Hero, S. All Might raised a hand of Masada. Masada became the focus of the audience. Advertisement. The banquet ended in laughter. After the banquet, Masada did not leave and did not go home, but continued to stay in the $1 trillion house. It's not that simple, is it? The two are now on the terrace on the second floor of the house, leaning on the railing to enjoy the moon. This sentence came out too coldly. Thousands of trillions smiled bitterly and said, "You patient, let's recover with peace of mind, but by the way, you can see this? You still looked worried at the banquet, why can't I tell?" Masada joked, shaking the wine glass in his hand. Thousands of trillions sighed and said, We found you close to the core of the Earth and entered that door. In that door, we found some data that shouldn't be there. Material. I listened too much, got interested, and said, what is the data that shouldn't be there? The information there should be the research report of the living dead. Now the person who engaged in this conspiracy is dead, and there should be no threat. As for the living dead, just let them immerse. Masada tilted the glass, and the wine poured down the glass to the ground below. Thousands of trillions frowned, and said, it's not that simple. What we found is similar to what you think. Most of them are research reports on the living dead, but there is one report that I particularly care about. Masada turned her face, looked at the trillion, and said, what makes the young master of the 100 billion consortium care so much? There is a report. It is not the research data of the living dead, but the data of one of the samples. The samples on the first few pages are still relatively normal, but gradually, the data gradually appeared abnormal. One day, the sample disappeared suddenly and appeared again after a few days. Masada, do you want to do another capability test? Qian Yizhao asked. Masada slept in one of the rooms of the Gigabit house. After getting up early, she would go to a Gigabit laboratory to be tested for ability. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. The report mentioned that since that incident, the research team began to analyze this sample for special cases. In the process of continuously receiving the virus from the living dead, the sample gradually has a variety of complex quirks, one of them it is space transfer. Thousands of trillions replied, since a month ago, he has been missing. The record on the report has disappeared. He seems to have no autonomous will and no purpose, but I can see in the report that this monster the strength has far surpassed the all-round ability test of you before. Melissa has not yet returned. Masada also smiled and greeted Melissa. In other words, the synthesized monster is stronger than me. Zheng Tai lay on the railing and looked into the distance. Thousands of trillions followed the guide of a lady maid and found the laboratory. Thousands of billions of trillions slowly narrated. From his words, 473 smelled the breath of major events. Zheng nodded too much. Ah, it's too good morning. Now, where is he? The next day as soon as the door opened, Masada saw Melissa inside. Melissa looked at Jingma and smiled. Chapter 390, Red King, 7. Advertisement. Masada entered the laboratory and lay inside a cylindrical instrument. She closed her eyes too much. A ray of light swept across Masada's body, and then a raging lava burned up Masada's body. Sure enough, the physical ability has improved a bit. Masada was sent out by a table, and the inspection has been completed. Afterwards, a side door in the laboratory opened. The side door leads to a training ground. Jing Tai, go to the training ground and we will conduct further tests. This is a gigabit sound. Melissa is wearing glasses at this time, following Masada, constantly recording some data. Zhengma saw the blue formulas and numbers on Melissa's glasses. Anyway, I can't understand it. Masada walked to the training ground along the arrow path lit on the ground. The training ground is large and white, a white field with a few dummies erected on it. Masada, go all out to attack those dummies and see how far you can do it. Thousands of trillions of sounds came from the loudspeakers in the hall. Masada looked at the model in front of him, first form. Boom, a lava armor covered Masada's body. Masada was wearing a combat uniform at this time. The second form. Circles of lava spread out. Masada became an elemental state, and the lava rose up several stories high. The third form. Boom, the lava kingdom is unfolding. The entire training ground has been turned into a lava field. Fourth form. Masada began to recall the original feeling, the feeling of fusion with the core of the earth. In the lava field, the lava is boiling, turning the river to the sea, and waves of lava rise like boiling water. In the sky, lava fell like a meteorite. However, this lava did not turn golden, did not become the light form at the time. Sure enough, the ability at that time was only temporary. But at that time, Masada really felt that he had the ability to destroy the world. Masada didn't force that power, but maximized the power he could control. Although he did not reach the light form, Masada also learned some experience from that battle. Now Masada's entire lava country is plated with a faint golden light. A lava sword, a bright red sword like a blazing flame appeared in Masada's hand. Advertisement. Although Masada did not have the power to control the core lava, he suddenly understood a direction to become stronger. Lava formation. Ordinary lava does not have much lethality except for high temperature scorching. But if lava bursts, it can cause powerful explosion damage. But when it comes to other aspects, lava is always worse. But Masada can make lava have various characteristics through lava formation, such as the sharpness of the sword. Before this comprehension, Masada had actually comprehended this field. But there is only a vague concept and no clear direction. At this time, Masada finally noticed. If she wants to become stronger, the next way is lava formation. Masada held the sword in both hands and cut it out with a fierce sword. A line of red light that opened up the world turned into a line, and it actually separated the space from left to right, and even the light was swallowed by this knife. A black hole appeared in the space. The dummy in the distance fell directly under this slash. In addition to this, Masada also felt that he had an additional ability called control in his lava kingdom. Once a day, you can control the fighting skills of a person in your field. Masada couldn't help but think of the swordsman. At that time, Masada solved the swordsman because he suddenly imitated the swordsman's fighting skills. Jing Tai, full firepower, thousands of trillions of voices came. Take off your hat. Masada only then remembered that she was wearing a cap that restrained her head. Since he is not afraid of death, Masada is willing to show him. Take off the cap gently. Boom. The training ground burst open. There are no dummies, the air is burnt to the point of distortion, and the entire space becomes an ocean of lava. After unlocking the seal, Masada vaguely felt something in his body agitated. It seems to be a core. I touched my heart too much. The heart shook suddenly, and a vigorous force aroused. A golden light spreads past. The light flooded the entire lava sea. The lava sea became smooth and clean, from the restless boiling sea of flames to a golden mirror surface that was as clean as new. Masada's temperament has also changed from a violent hell demon to a bright saint. Dong dong, the heart is beating, as powerful as a drum, continuously transmitting energy to Masada. However, at the same time that Masada feels that he has boundless power. Advertisement, Red King. A cry came into his mind. I looked back too abruptly, thinking that the devil was still there, but there was no devil when I looked back. In Masada's mind, she began to involuntarily think of if she had the whole world. Sitting on the resources of the world, he is the strongest and has the most noble treatment. Everyone is headed by him. Masada was suddenly sinking and unable to extricate herself. Asterisk. It's still too late, just kill everyone who gets in the way and prove to the world that you are great. As if the devil was whispering in the ear. Masada's eyes became blurred, and she looked at the recording camera. Raised his hand slightly. Boom, the camera mirror is broken. Destroy everything and become the Red King of the new world. There is a voice lingering in Masada's mind, justice. There was a cry, it was Melissa's voice. Masada suddenly woke up from the confusion. He found that he was actually in the laboratory. The laboratory was in a mess, and his hand was pinching Melissa's neck. Press on your head. After you took off your hat, you suddenly went mad, blasted open the isolation door between the laboratory and the training ground, and rushed into the research room to destroy it everywhere. Masada hurried back to find the hat, and the hat was still there. Jingtai, what's wrong with you, Masada? Are you not hero? Melissa was held up in the air by Masada. Masada was relieved too. How is it possible? How can I do this? How could I do such a thing? Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Thousands of trillions came afterwards, and he and Masada were separated by a thick protective glass. Jing Tai, what's the matter with you? Melissa was not afraid of Jung Tai, but asked closer. Red King, you are the Red King, justice. Masada immediately took back all quirks, and the lava went out. The strange sound finally disappeared. Masada looked behind him, and behind him, Hao Jiao, was a sea of scorched lava. Many researchers fell to the ground, not knowing whether they were dead or alive. Yes, peaked cap. Just let go too quickly and put Melissa down. The annoying sound struck again, and Jung felt that his vision became blurred, and immediately speeded up and quickly took the hat in his hand. Chapter 391. Red King, Ha, Advertisement, Jing Tai, what's the matter with you? Thousands of trillions wanted to walk from behind the protective glass to Masada, but then he was stopped by the bodyguard next to him. Young master, this man is already very dangerous, please don't step forward. Masada looked at the brawny bodyguard who was talking. The bodyguard felt cold all over, and his muscles burst for a while, turning into a cyan behemoth. Young master. Go away. This man is dangerous. The giant beast is Pia, standing in front of 1,000 billion trillions. Thousands of trillions touched its back and said, Xing Ning, step back, he really wants to attack us, this thin layer of glass can't stop him, and you can't protect me. Although the behemoth named Xingning was a little unwilling, it still transformed into a human form. He just subconsciously protected the young master. He also knew how powerful the lava hero, in front of him was. Thousands of trillions walked over and asked, what's wrong with you, Masada? It seems that the mental state is not right. Masada pressed one hand on his forehead, and there was constant pain in the spirit. It seems that there is something in my spirit. Masada felt a voice that kept tempting him to fall and become the Red King. Become a dictator who rules the world, a tyrant, instead of being a lava hero, After putting on the peaked cap, as the strength was limited, the voice became much smaller. Send them to treatment first. Masada pointed to the group of medical staff and said. Already doing it. A group of people in white clothes ran in. This is a medical team dedicated to the 100 billion consortium. I was too relieved and fell asleep again, early the next morning. Melissa came to Zhengma's room. Masada had already woken up, looking out the scenery through the window of the room. Justice. Advertisement, what's wrong, Melissa? Masada smiled and looked at Melissa. Melissa's face was slightly flushed. Then Melissa immediately became serious and said, yesterday your data was extremely abnormal. Before you took off your hat after launching the Lava Kingdom, there was a small burst of power. A data board appeared in Melissa's hand and analyzed. At this time, your abilities are still in a steady state, which means that although the energy is very large and intense, these energies are under your control. Melissa turned the data board and showed it to Masada. But when you take off your hat, your ability suddenly becomes chaotic. Although it becomes a smooth and clean mirror, you can't control your energy at all. Melissa found several pictures from the data board, and those pictures were all taken by her with glasses. There is also a video. Melissa clicked on the video first. The image in the video shows Masada spreading the light field, with wings of light emerging from behind, but then, Masada's eyes gradually become confused, and then suddenly he hugs his head with his hands, looking mad. The wings of light disappeared, and the eyes of Masada became blood red. The field of light became a field of boiling lava again. Afterwards, Masada's eyes looked at the camera. That is, Melissa's eyes. After that, Masada destroyed the barriers between the laboratory and the training ground, wounded some of the experimenters, and quickly pinched Melissa's neck. It wasn't until Melissa called out that Masada woke up from the madness. Melissa, I'm sorry. He lowered his head too much and said guiltily. He definitely didn't want to shoot at his friends. Melissa picked up a biscuit. It's okay, we all know, this can't be Masada's original intention. I have never doubted Masada's nature, so is the Trillions. Melissa put a biscuit into Masada's mouth and said, I know, Masada will not hurt her friends. I have always believed in Masada, so, there must be something special? Melissa held Masada's hands and said, Jingtai, I hope you can cooperate with our research and let us understand what happened. Just as he nodded too much, what happened to his body was also very strange. One of the suspicions of CDEI is the demon. The demon possesses dark attributes and may have all sorts of strange abilities. Especially this kind of disgusting ability of possession. I was touching my head too much, feeling a little headache. Advertisement. If it is really what he thought, it would be bad. What Masada is not good at dealing with is mental ability. Please follow me. Melissa picked up Magma from the bed, and she was led by Melissa to yesterday's laboratory. The laboratory has been refurbished. Have to admire their efficiency. Masada, as always, lay in the cylindrical instrument. However, Gigabita has been exposed to all kinds of things since childhood, and has a little involved in all aspects. After all, he usually doesn't need to untie the seal. With the current lava country alone, he can defeat most villains, and he has stood at the pinnacle of the world's combat power. But before that, I hope you will use less of the power to release the seal, because this force is too difficult to control. According to data analysis, if you use that power again, it is likely that you will not be able to restore the original personality. Become the one in your mouth, the Red King. Sora has a powerful force that cannot be used. How sad it is. The data is all normal, like yesterday, but after I opened the whole spectrum scan, I found that there is a strange energy body in Masada's body. This energy body is very special. Only when Masada lifts the seal of power will it stimulate energy. I preliminarily judged that this is the main reason for the chaos. Thousands of trillions looked towards Masada. Melissa pushed her glasses again. This time she was very serious and said, if you really become like that, we might get rid of you, because you will become a threat that can almost destroy the world. We will definitely find a way to relieve this crazy state soon. Melissa pushed her glasses and said to Masada. The villains that can only be defeated by consecrating the country are probably gone in this world. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. How is the result? Thousands of trillions felt a sorrow from Masada's body. A light still swept across, and Jung Tai's body was scanned in an instant. Since this is the case, I won't untie this seal in the future. Masada looked at his hand and said lightly. In other words, if Masada doesn't untie the seal of the peaked cap, it won't cause such a crazy state. Thousands of trillions touched his chin and came to a conclusion. Thousands of trillions are standing next to Melissa, who is analyzing data by the instrument at this time. Melissa pushed the glasses, and a series of data appeared on the glasses. Masada had been scanned and was eating an apple. After all, he was not a scientific researcher, and he couldn't understand it. Jung shrugged his shoulders too much to show that it didn't matter. Chapter 392. Red King, 9. Advertisement. 1 month has passed since Masada was unable to use his full strength. In this month, the name of Lava Hero, S, spread all over the streets. Hero, S. A man full of burning lava, saved countless people from fire and water. No matter what villains is, it is defeated by one move. No matter what kind of danger it is, it can be saved. It's great. Jungtae is already active as an official hero, S. Denki lay on the table, looking at the blackboard said. Aren't you discussing going to the official hero, S, office for an internship these days? Suyu touched his chin and answered Denki's words. However, Denki cried and looked at Suyu and said, but I can't find it. There is no official hero, S, who wants to hire us. Suyu looked at the empty space and said, but Midori Valley has found an internship. Are you talking about Night Eye? That's great, Hero, S, who used to work under All Might. And Tokiyami is also used by Hawks' name list. When will we get the name? Denki said softly, lying on the table. Denki, why don't we go and ask Mr. Ma to see if he will hire us? Suyu tilted his head and thought, and finally came to this conclusion. After class, Denki took out his cell phone and called the wife. Hello, Mrs. Ma. Oh, it's Denki, how are you doing? One boom. An explosion suddenly came from the phone, and Denki was taken aback by the sudden sound. Jongma, are you okay? Denki's tone trembled a little. Ah, it's okay, I've already dealt with it. There was a criminal gang robbing a bank in Okinawa just now. I happened to be traveling nearby, so I was called to the past. It has been resolved and it's all right. Denki was speechless. In the past month, the model of Lava Hero, S, has been born, which has caused the rising evil forces to cease again, and the crime rate has again dropped drastically. However, there are also some groups who want to take advantage of the silence of this other top group to make a big vote. Therefore, although large-scale organized crime has ceased, small-scale criminal gangs are still ready to move. Jing Tai, how many people do you have in your studio now? Masada was stunned when he heard this, and then asked, why are you asking this? But I still answered. The only person in the studio is Melissa, who helps me analyze crime distribution data and cooperates with the 100 billion consortium to participate in the research and development of my new combat uniform. Advertisement, Suyu and I want to join your studio for an internship, Denki said seriously. Most of the classmates around have found the place of internship, and he is really uneasy. Jung was too silent for a while and then promised. This is okay, but you have to be mentally prepared. The places I go are generally dangerous. Okay. Then the phone hangs up. Great, Masada promised us that we could go to his studio for an internship. Is this really good? Jungtae has only become an official hero, S, for 1 month, and because he has a major achievement, he is not allowed to pass the proper assessment and certification. Will we cause him trouble? Suyu was a little worried about Masada. The next day, Denki came to Masada's office. With the support of the 100 billion consortium, Masada has established its own studio. As a supporter of Masada, the 100 billion consortium, its reputation has risen again and again, and it has made countless profits. Masada's studio is not big, it's in a room in an office building. Boom, boom, knock on the door. Come here. Masada opened the door, and Denki stood in front of Masada in a suit. This makes Jung too ridiculous. Everyone, classmates, why are you so dissatisfied? I promised to accept you as an intern. I will accept you. There is no need to be so restrained. Masada invited them in. Melissa saw the guests coming and immediately put down her work and poured a cup of tea for both of them. Suyu is also wearing a black suit. This makes her look alternative beauty. Jing Tai, this is our internship application. Denki took out 2 application forms from the bag. Masada took the application form and took the seal from her desk. Double-click, and the chapter is completed. Thank you, Masada. Denki took this application form and carefully retracted it into his backpack. Don't be happy too early. If you stamp U, it means that you are an intern in our firm. Next, we will face various dangerous situations together. For Flower's advertisement, Denki shuddered and asked, what dangerous situation? Even Masada, you think it is dangerous, don't we go to die? Jung laughed too much, and said, that is not so dangerous. In fact, things with such a high degree of danger will not happen generally, let alone in this era when the top dark forces are hidden. Jingle bell. The phone rang. Melissa pressed a button on the computer, and the whole room was darkened suddenly, and a screen was projected out. A human face appeared on the wall. Lava Hero, S, ask for support. A strange army has appeared in Maple Leaf. This army is destroying anything you see for no reason, please support. Suddenly, behind the face on the screen, the wall broke open, and a huge lizard crawled in, then slapped the reporter to the ground. The screen just went black. Instead, he walked to the computer in the center of the laboratory. With a light press of his hand, the whole laboratory suddenly lit up. Long. All Might also received calls for help from the Fighting Nation, and the hero, S, such as the jungle gods have received calls for help from different places. Melissa. This time, the figure of Endeavor appeared. Jung was too nervous for a moment, and suddenly knew that this matter should not be easy. Maple Leaf Country. The video was closed, and it was too silent. This video came too suddenly, and the distress signal was too familiar. Masada immediately cast a look at Melissa. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Jingle bell. Hello, is it Masada? Have you received a message requesting support? Then Melissa immediately pressed a button. The wall turned over, and an underpass appeared. Melissa went into the underpass. Inside was a huge laboratory with everything needed for experimental equipment. However, this time Melissa did not play with the instrument. It seems that Hero, S, all over the world have received this call for help. As long as it is a little famous Hero, S, almost all have received the call for help, but it seems that the location of the call for help is different. The call for help message I received is in Kangaroo. Where is the cry for help you received? Received. Masada replied concisely. Endeavor asked, frowning. The phone rang again. The room went dark again. Chapter 393. The Red King 10 Total War. Advertisement, Melissa. How's the situation going? Jing Tai had already ended the call with Endeavor, and the Jung Tai had already reached Melissa's side at this time. Melissa looked at the computer screen with a serious face, and the screen showed dense red dots. According to the newly received information, in just 1 hour, a large army with quirks suddenly emerged from all over the country. They mainly destroy without purpose, and spread chaos and evil. Melissa clicked a button, and a piece of information appeared. The area where the recent riot broke out is on the street 50 kilometers away from Masada. Riot also broke out in Neon. It's just that the riots around here are insignificant compared to the big riots that have occurred all over the world. The quirk army of tens of thousands of people gathered together, like a beast, destroying the 473 of various cities and destroying them inside the city, because the quirks are different and elusive. Therefore, it is difficult for them to be subdued. Coupled with the large number of people in the city and the complicated terrain, the quirk corps of about 10,000 people is already more powerful than the regular army. I looked too seriously. Even now, the red dots on the screen in the world map are still increasing. Jingtai, what should we do now? Denki hurriedly asked Masada for suggestions. Denki, calm down. Suyu put his hand on Kaminari Denki's head, and Denki looked at Suyu. He was a little rushed by such a serious incident as soon as he took office. Go find the source of the riot, Masada ordered immediately. Melissa got the order and started to operate on the computer. The red dots disappeared one by one, and then 5 yellow dots appeared on the map. 5 yellow dots mark 5 different countries. Information appeared on those points, and then zoomed in. In the Maple Leaf Nation, a man in black is commanding an army. He is floating in the air with black wings. Those rioters with quirks are carrying out violent destruction under his command. Kangaroo, a barbarian riding a rhinoceros and wearing animal skins, brandishing a mace, and galloping down the street. He was just an ordinary person, but when his mace touched the house next to him, the house collapsed and collapsed instantly as if it had been hit by a meteorite. Advertisement: there is endless brute force hidden in the tiny body. On the other side, in the Fighting Nation, a giant bear stood roaring. At first glance, Masada didn't look at it, but when Melissa reduced the image, Masada discovered that this bear was extremely huge, even bigger than Mount Tai. The person in front of him was just like sesame seeds, grain. What a normal person feels like when looking at the sesame seeds under his feet, this bear may feel like a human being. In the Star-Spangled Banner country's rooster, a monster with chains all over his body resisted a missile. The chains all over his body came from the void. He was human, but his expression was dull, and there was no anger at all. Everyone around him was hollow, with dark golden chains sticking out. In the end, it was a man without a face, unlike AFO, with a bad face, only a mouth. This person has the contours of the facial features, but no facial features, just like a model, but there are no holes in the nose, no seams in the mouth, eye bones in the eyes, and ears with the contours of the ears, without pierced ears. The whole person is like a closed person, with no opening at all. He beckoned gently, and suddenly a bunch of bees flew towards a city in front of him. After showing these people, Melissa said to Masada, "These people are the first people to appear in this encounter. Judging by their behavior, they are estimated to be the commanders of this group of thugs. It may even be the leader of this battle. So, if you beat them, is it all right?" Masada came to the conclusion directly. It is estimated to be like this, but they are distributed in different regions. Between these regions, it takes a lot of time to travel long distances. It is impossible to leave them all to you alone. Touching her chin too much, Melissa was right. After all, he didn't know how to do it, and it was impossible to go to 5 places to support at the same time. Masada, this person seems to be the one who was discovered in the underground materials. Melissa magnified the person who was bound by the chains in the void and showed it to Masada. Masada looked at that person and immediately decided, well, let's go and see him first, mainly to see if I can get any information out of his mouth. Afterwards, Masada turned on the phone and made a call. After a while, a huge wind sounded, and a helicopter stopped outside Masada's window and jumped onto the plane. The helicopter took off and delivered Masada to the airport in a while. At the airport, there was a private plane waiting for Masada. This is a special machine built by the 100 billion consortium for Masada. The flight speed of the plane broke the limit. This plane was not for normal people to ride, but for Junta's physique. Advertisement: human monster rides. If an average person gets on this plane, it is estimated that they will be directly crushed and killed by the huge acceleration during the takeoff process. The engine emitted a huge light, and the propeller spewed out a long flame, which was like a ribbon, which dyed the ground red. I touched my hat too much, and I definitely can't let this seal be lifted easily. Afterwards, the aircraft directly ascended into the high altitude under the impetus. It was like a scorching meteor across the night sky. The place Masada went was where Luoshanji, the chained man, appeared. Masada supported her hat on the plane, and around the man wrapped in chains, only black smoke was left. Boom! Suddenly, his heart was empty. He had a hunch that he might be about to untie the seal. Landed like a meteorite. If you unlock the seal, can you lose yourself? I don't know why he appeared there. The plane pierced the night sky, and it took a very short time to arrive at Luoshanji. However, if the chained man is as strong as the description, it is estimated that Masada can only break the seal and fight him. Jung Tai laughed at herself. In the past month of 4.8, there has been no danger at all. Dust and smoke were everywhere, and Masada waved his hand to disperse the dust and smoke. In front of Masada was the man with chains all over her body. The plane gradually slowed down and began to maneuver, then Masada opened the door directly and jumped off the plane. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. If the seal is unlocked and it is not the same, then it is estimated that you will become villains instead. Chapter 394. Red King, 11, Advertisement. After Masada fell, he immediately felt like his whole body was burned, and the atoms in his body turned into black smoke and began to dissipate. Masada immediately turned on elementalization. For a time, Masada's body was scattered with flames, and granular black smoke floated, but Masada's body was not affected in any way. Familiar breath. The chain-covered sleepy-faced man said. He moved his nose slightly. Then he moved. He had chains on his body, but those chains did not have any restraint effect. As the figure of the man moved, the chains also moved. You? The chained man approached Masada, moved his nose again, and then showed a puzzled expression. You are not him. The man slapped Masada over, like a fly. Boom! Masada's elbow blocked the opponent's slap, but in this way, Masada's body gradually melted like black snow. That man is also strange. Really weird. Bang! He clapped his hands together. This man is huge, and his hands are in sync, just covering Masada. It's like hitting a mosquito. Boom! Flames exploded from between his hands. 23, I said, big man, do you look down on me a little bit? The lava kingdom opens. Directly trapped the big man in the space. The same ability as him, but it's red. Instead of panicking, the big man looked at the spectacle with interest. He stood on the lava field with his feet, but around his feet, he was surrounded by thick kurogiri. Masada can feel that the lava around his body has been turned into non-existent nothingness, turned into black smoke. Biomass lava. Masada tried to directly cause lava on the opponent's body, but it did not have any effect. Layers of black smoke appeared on the opponent's body. The function of this smoke is estimated to be decomposition and combination. Masada probably figured out the opponent's quirk. But this kind of quirk is really difficult. Several lava arrows fell, and the lava was transformed into a more powerful force by simulating the existence of things. Advertisement. The arrow feathers fell one after another, and the man was bathed in the center of the arrow rain, but no matter how violently the arrow feather fell, he could not hurt him. Bang! One. The man raised his hand and waved. A black sand soared up, and the lava that hit the black sand was immediately assimilated into black sand. This piece of space unexpectedly opened an unrecoverable gap with a single blow from a man. Then he looked at Masada. Masada felt threatened, and her body tightened. Then he flashed in front of Masada in an instant, and the black sand in his hand was condensed, and he was about to take a photo. Masada hurriedly dived into the kingdom, but the man suddenly waved his hand and turned to predict the movement of Masada. Masada was photographed directly from the space by him. Wow! A mouthful of blood spurted from Masada's mouth. He underestimated the enemy. I didn't expect this chained man to be so strong. Where is that man, Black Soul Man? The man dangled Jengma with one hand. Jung Tai felt that the rate of generation of elemental lava could not keep up with the rate of dissipation. If this goes on, you will lose, but such a man cannot be put outside. If I want to see him, Masada put her hand on top of her head. Then let you see you. Boom! A ray of lava fell from the sky. Masada was bathed in light. Welcome, Red King. Before Masada's eyes, there was the darkness that couldn't see the fingers. Then, the sound of footsteps sounded, and the sound of footsteps appeared abrupt in this quiet space. Red King, I am your admirer. The devil's voice came, and the space around Masada suddenly glowed slightly. A deformed dark figure slowly walked out of the darkness. Devil, it really is you. No, I'm the Black King, your Black King. Didn't we say that we will unite the world together? What's wrong with my body? Masada didn't talk nonsense with him and went straight to the subject. Your body? No, it should be said that it is our body, Red King. You really have a perfect body, 2 mixed quirks, unparalleled destructive power. It is simply an existence for destruction and destruction. The black demon praised so, his eyes seemed to emit light. Before Masada's eyes, a scene suddenly appeared. What he saw was his own perspective, the perspective of his body. He saw that he was holding the neck of the weird man, and black smoke was flowing between his fingers, but he couldn't hurt his arm at all. Advertisement. Masada's hand was squeezed hard, and the strange man's neck was directly snapped off. This is me. Then, there was a sudden shock of spirit. Masada left the dark space, and his consciousness returned to the body. However, the consciousness is on the body, but the body cannot control it. Jungtae was full of golden light, and in front of him was the corpse of the weird man covered in chains. All around has become a golden country. However, in this country, among the gold and white, there is still a little black. The corpse slowly opened his mouth opened and closed. Huan, welcome back our king. Masada's mouth moved, and he made a voice that did not belong to him. The voice was deep and deep. Well, your Red King is back. Has the body been controlled by the devil? Among the ruins next to them, there were old people and children who were crushed by rocks and unable to move. Masada is in his body, but he can also perceive 473 through passive heat, and feel everything around him without dead ends. Don't kill them. Masada's body moved, and she came to the old man and the child in an instant. If this body is controlled by the devil, the old man and the child will definitely die. Damn, move, move. Masada watched as she raised her hand, and roared crazily in her heart, but this couldn't regain control of her body. Boom. A huge explosion occurred. The boulders and pillars were directly blown up high in the sky. However, the thick smoke dissipated, and the old man and the child were safe and sound. But the old man and the child were also frightened and stupefied, standing blankly in front of Masada, not daring to move. Don't stay in such a dangerous place. The voice that didn't belong to Masada made again. Jung was too relieved. It seemed that his body was not completely controlled by the devil. So how does one's body act? Masada dived deep into his consciousness and returned to that dark space again. In that dark space, there is still only the devil alone. How about it? This is our masterpiece, the devil said with a smile. What the hell did you do to me? Masada asked with a frown. It's an honor to answer the noble Red King. After all, I am your admirer. The devil smiled. Chapter 395. Red King, 12, Advertisement. Masada really wanted to punch the demon in the face, but no matter how Masada moved in this dark space, he couldn't get close to the devil, and the devil would always keep a fixed distance from him. And in this dark space, Jung is too unable to use a powerful quirk. At most, he can only use a quirk to ignite the fire. It is probably only the strength of a fingertip to burn a little lava. The demon Yu explained. Darkness, the powerful are not attacking and killing, but eroding. At that time, you killed me, but your spiritual power also rose to the extreme in an instant, but after the extreme ascent, it is the ultimate bleak, Lord Red King, your weakest is your spirit, and darkness is best at corroding your spirit, so when you can't move, I will take you. At that time, I was only left with a lingering breath. After a short period of rest, I was able to return to the dark orb and bring me back to life, but the girl named Shen Chi Maria unexpectedly pierced my dark bead. The devil's face suddenly became clear. He smiled, and said, therefore, I can only store it in your spirit for a long time. During your time, I will grow and sprout in your spirit, but because of what I entrusted to. It is the luminous orb produced when you fuse the power of the Earth's core. Masada probably understood what was going on, and then said, so, as soon as I lift the seal, you will release your own power because I guide the deep-seated power. Yes, Lord Red, if you never use that power, I will never be able to inspire the power of darkness to erode your spirit. But now, it's not you, nor me, who is outside. Masada started to wonder again. Are you talking about the person who controls the body? That is naturally the real Red King, the third personality born from the fusion of your and my spirit, Red King. I was stepping forward too quickly and punched. What are you talking about? However, this punch still hit the air. The demon was impartial, just 4 meters in front of Masada, and Masada couldn't reach it anyway. This piece of space is infinite, and no matter how you go, you can't walk. This is Masada's spiritual world, but this spiritual world has been completely corroded by darkness and completely fallen into the control of the devil. It's just that when the devil invaded Masada's spirit, he was dying and his power was not complete, so he could not completely replace Masada. Even in his heyday, he could not completely take Masada away. After all, what Masada said is a person who can fight him. It just feels so tricky now. It's not that you can't do anything. If you sync your mind, you can still feel everything in the outside world, and you can see what your body is doing with your own will. However, it is impossible to control one's body, one by one in the real world. After Masada defeated the strange man, it immediately turned into a streamer. Advertisement. Boom. A ray of light fell. The giant bear high in the Taishan mountain was directly knocked down to the ground. Masada's own will was also dumbfounded. His current strength is too strong. Even if Masada is in light form, it will not be as strong as it is now. When he hit the chain weird before, Masada didn't feel it, but now he feels that his power can be said to be almost 3 times that of the previous light form. It's just that this power is not for my own use. This self-willed self has a strange acting style. The Red King Masada turned into light and struck countless times on the surface of the bear's body in an instant. The bear the size of Mount Tai was swaying repeatedly. From the outside, he seemed to be drunk on the ground. Boom. Boom. A beam of light fell from the sky, and the beam of light directly covered the entire head of the white bear. Then the beam of light dissipated, and there was no bear's head in that area, and only a large crater of vaporized lava remained. The bear is completely dead. After the death of this bear, its size continued to shrink, and finally turned into an ordinary human size covered in bear skin. How about, this is the result of the strength of the two of us. There is darkness in the light, and the light and darkness collide with each other to generate a powerful force. Although there is only a trace of darkness, it can also stimulate a powerful potential. Although Masada hates this demon, she has to admit that what he said makes sense. Just like the explosion of ice and fire, the collision of light and darkness can indeed inspire powerful forces. And Masada's speed, after obtaining this power, was already close to the speed of sound. After beheading the white bear, the Red King Masada immediately rushed to the next location without hesitation. It can be said that within a day, the war has subsided. The mob group has no leader, and they did not live to be arrested. The Red King Masada is extremely cruel to evil. As long as he sees it, he will kill him. It was too soon to quell the riot that caused a global sensation. Advertisement. Can you hear me? Red King Masada said at this moment, sitting on the top of the world's highest mountain in the heavy snow, watching the sky full of snow. Masada's consciousness paused for a while, and then she realized that this body's consciousness was talking to herself. Audible. It doesn't matter if you can hear it or not, I have already helped you solve the things you haven't dealt with, Red King Masada said. Masada was alone on the edge of the volcano, half of his body was sweating inside the erupting lava. Boom boom boom. Successive explosions sounded. Lava flows down in circles. The highest peak of ice and snow melted. This volcano erupted so high that it directly covered the entire sky. In the sky was like golden rain. Red King Masada raised his hands high, and the volcano roared and boiled like steam. Then, golden lava erupted from the inside of the volcano. In addition to a golden light, there were billowing volcanic ash floating in the sky. Red King Masada got up from the top of the peak. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Boom. After that, I will act with my own consciousness. I have your memory. I will not hurt your relatives and friends, but relatively, I have what I want to accomplish. In a short period of time, the snow on the mountain peaks had disappeared. Then, Hong Wang Masada put his hand on the rock and poured the lava into it. Masada tried his best to control his body, but it didn't help. Hateful. I want to open up one, Jiao Jiao, a kingdom of the strong. The entire mountain peak turned directly from white to red, and red light leaked from the inside of the mountain. The whole mountain has been transformed by Masada, and this mountain has become a volcano. Masada stood motionless on the side of the mountain. This mountain has erupted for more than a month. Chapter 396, Volcanic Ash Advertisement. The earth is completely covered by volcanic ash, and sunlight cannot reach the ground through the dense volcanic ash layer. The news broadcaster is wearing a mask, and a thick layer of dust has accumulated on many buildings. The Himalayas have become like a purgatory. Lava is scattered throughout the mountains, without any signs of life. The lava seems to be alive. Whenever someone approaches, it will swallow those who approach it. This place has become a forbidden area. For a month, although it was known that the source of the volcanic eruption was Mount Everest, it was not really close to the source of the eruption. No matter if it is a flying quirk or a high-tech helicopter, it cannot be approached. If it is a flying quirk, flying through the wings will spontaneously ignite when they are close to Mount Everest. If it is the wind, it will be disturbed by the strong heat flow. If it is a helicopter or airplane, it will spontaneously ignite when approaching. And because of the thick volcanic ash blocking the sky, the satellite cannot see the ground. For a month, what happened to Mount Everest has become an unsolved mystery. 1 month after the eruption, the volcanic eruption of Mount Everest stopped. Heroes from all over the world organized teams to explore and crusade Mount Everest. This quirk is very worrying. Melissa wears goggles. Joining the crusade were not only professional heroes, but also some scientists who served heroes. The day Masada disappeared was the same day as the eruption of the volcano, and the lava covered the ground. Melissa took out a container from her backpack, dived it into the lava with a stick, and the container was automatically packaged in the lava. Melissa took a sample of lava and came up, lightly pressed the button next to the goggles, and began to analyze briefly. Masada. After doing a simple analysis, Melissa's heart suddenly lifted. The composition of this lava is as high as 89% similar to the lava created by Masada's quirk. This can almost explain that the person who caused this lava disaster is Masada. Come on, Melissa. Night Eye patted Melissa on the back lightly. This month, Masada disappeared, and the new peace symbol star that had risen again has disappeared. The world fell into panic again. Advertisement. After Masada disappeared, Melissa was helpless for a week, and finally he decided to assist All Might's heir, Green Valley Chuju, CDEI. This world cannot be without a symbol. In the past month, Green Valley has been exercising extremely intensely, and it is supplemented by scientific methods for devil-style training. Although it is only a month, the strength has been increased to the extent that it can turn on 70% of the full coverage of One for All, and even now a 100% full blow will not break any bones. With such strength, Green Valley also participated in this crusade. In fact, speaking of the improvement of Green Valley's strength, it was because of the devil training that was too cruel and inhumane before. Let's go. Green Valley also looked at Melissa. One step further is the restricted area. Endeavor, Melissa, Night Eyes, Midori Valley Chuju, Shoto Todoroki, and the Bad Reason being backed by Masada. This is the first echelon crusade. After them, there are heroes from various countries, and the first echelon will serve as pioneers and open the way. Endeavor stepped out. The lava in front is boiling, transforming into a posture of eastern dragons, and rushing towards Endeavor. Endeavor made fire with both hands, and 2 fire dragons slammed into the lava dragon. Boom. Flames exploded in midair like fireworks. Hurry up! With Melissa on his back, Masada was carrying the bad reason, and stepping on the ice. Masada was completely covered, and the ice surface was condensed, giving Masada a foothold. Endeavor followed closely, stepping on the blazing flames, and Night Eye sits behind Endeavor. The team moved quickly, and Endeavor was responsible for breaking the incoming lava. However, this situation did not last long, because they soon encountered the first major difficulty, the foot of Mount Everest. This is a large lava lake. It is no longer the same as before, the cratered ground, and occasionally there are shallow lava craters. This is a big lava lake with no bottom, and there are firebirds flying on the lake. As the team approached, Monument, the lake surface shimmered, and lava tentacles appeared from the lake surface. The tentacles slapped the ground and the lake recklessly, causing lava waves, and the ground also left a deep lava pit. Controlling the lava, and being so powerful, is it really Masada? Endeavor stood far away from the lake, and the flames waved like a dragon, blocking all the attacking lava dragons. Advertisement, can't you move forward? Endeavor asked his son, but he banged his head against the big man and stood in front of the lava lake, trying his best to avoid the incoming fire dragon. This lava lake cannot be frozen. Blasting his hands on the ground, the surrounding ice froze in an instant, but in another instant, the ice melted. This is not the way to go, it's better to retreat first. Endeavor was already incapable of fighting against the 8-party fire dragon at this time. The Night Eye helped Endeavor predict the surrounding lava attack. Melissa was behind Boom, looking for the weakness of the lava lake. Masada carried the bad reason behind his back, and the only reason to bring the bad reason was because, according to Melissa, Masada might be the culprit of this disaster. But that was just the Masada who was controlled by his mind. If he brought bad reasons, it might be able to help Masada recover. So bad reason is an indispensable figure. Jingtai, is that you? Can you hear it? Melissa shouted to the sky. The summit of Mount Everest. The Red King was looking too cold at the foot of the mountain. He already felt it, and a group of people were approaching here. The strong survive and the weak die. The strong should have greater rights than the weak. I hereby tell the world that I will change the shape of this society. Masada, the peak of Mount Everest, is pronounced, and the whole mountain vibrates with Masada's words. The lava in the mountain boils at a specific frequency to simulate the sound, conveying Masada's will. The first step is to weed out the weak. Masada turned into a ray of light and descended at the foot of the mountain. Both feet were on the lava lake, and the lake surface glowed with golden light. Endeavor saw Jengma. His legs couldn't stop shaking. A physical fear made him keep backing away. This is not like the same kind of life, it seems to be a higher level existence. Masada is tall, with wings spread out behind her, her body is bright armor, and her eyes are indifferent. If you really want to talk about the feeling Masada now gives people, it is God. It is as if the gods have descended on the world without eating the smoke. Chapter 397. The King of the New World Advertisement. Jung Tai looked at Melissa, smiling at the corner of her mouth. Then he said, Masada is the previous will. If you want to call me now, I should be the King of the New World. You should call me the Red King. Damn it, my legs don't listen. Endeavor wanted to step forward and block in front, but couldn't control his legs at all. The surrounding lava dragon has stopped attacking. You are all friends of Masada, I will not hurt you, but on the contrary, I will not let you stop my will. The Red King waved his hand gently, and a golden halo pushed out from the Red King Masada. Move, your legs move quickly, one for all 100% full coverage. Green Valley was the first to bear the brunt. Overcoming the fear, the lines all over his body rose, and he punched the halo. The strong wind pressure shattered the golden halo. Lagu panted slightly, and the bad conditions on his body restored Lugu's body. Green Valley slipped back and returned to Boom's side. What? Red King Masada was slightly surprised. He just wanted to push this group of people away. After all, he said not to hurt Masada's friends. As a king, naturally he would not break his promise. But to the Red King Masada's surprise, the strength of Green Valley could be so strong, and this circle of resistance halo would be broken. Interesting. Masada, don't you remember us anymore? Lagu yelled, looking at Masada, with a look of disbelief. Originally Melissa speculated that it might be Masada, but Lagu still had doubts. Because the Masada he knew was not such a person, but a real hero, who stood up for his friends, always rushed to the forefront, and wanted to save others. Masada remembers, and the Red King remembers, so, I have said, now in front of you is the Red King, not the Masada, don't you understand? Hong Wang Masada drew his ears. Although he was all sacred, his manners did not seem to be very sacred. He squinted one eye and said, all right, friends of Masada, don't disturb me to rule the world. I'm still busy creating a new world. Melissa. Learn. After Green Valley screamed, Melissa immediately acted, took a pistol from her pocket, and shot it at Masada. Boom. However, the Red King Masada disappeared immediately when the gun shot. Oh, it's still tracking? The Red King's voice sounded in the air, and Melissa saw the Red King Masada constantly flickering in the air, as if he was moving instantaneously. However, his azure blue bullet, like a headless fly, has been chasing Masada. Unfortunately, if the bullet doesn't fly fast enough, there is still no way to hit me, even if it's tracked, it's useless. Gently squeezed Masada's hand, and the bullet burst into pieces. Advertisement. Of course I know, it's impossible for a bullet to hit you. After the bullet exploded, half of the sky was frozen by ice. This was the cold that even the air had frozen, and it was infinitely close to absolute zero. So, we didn't plan to hit it in the first place. Melissa raised her head and looked at the frozen sky. She was in tears. It would be great if it could not hurt you, but this is compelling, for the sake of this world. Ah, Melissa, well done. It's a pity that I'm too strong. Masada's ontological consciousness looked at her frozen self, feeling in her heart, but she felt helpless again. Boom. The golden lava flows. Catch him quickly, Melissa cried out. She knew that it was impossible to seal Masada for too long, after all, Masada's power was too strong. Collapse. The ground cracked, and he jumped up too quickly, stepping directly on the ice in the sky. Bad reason. Masada directly dumped the bad idea. After the systematic training, the bad idea has been able to control his own strength. The bad reason touches the positive wife through the ice cube. Boom. Masada felt that the mental barrier seemed to be a little confused. Masada's will sneaked into that dark space. Then he discovered that this dark space had become tattered, and light began to shine from the surrounding area, and a few thread-like fragments appeared. Masada sighed, then smiled at the corner of his mouth. This group of friends is really good. Masada was in the space, and his spirit moved, and this dark space became shaken. The darkness shattered, and the light shone out. Masada felt that he seemed to be able to control his body gradually. How is it possible? How could it be possible for you to snatch this body back? This body belongs to the Red King. It belongs to the king of the new world, the demon whispered. For flowers, the devil began to roar, and Jungta was roaring too. The voices of the two echoed in this space. This piece of space was constantly shattered and then restored, and this piece of space was constantly alternating between black, white and white. And the outside world. Red King Masada also fell into chaos. Advertisement. The ice was broken. He hugged his head and knelt on the ground in pain. The surrounding area turned into a bursting lava lake. You guys, what have you done? The Red King held his head in great pain. His consciousness is completely based on the will of Masada and the devil, and is a spiritual fusion of the two. But at this time, the bad reason was backtracked, and the physical state of Masaru was backtracked to before the battle with the devil. But because the devil is directly in the spirit of Masada, it is not completely retrospective. So Masada is now in a very strange state. It's crazy. All the surrounding lava burst open. There was a huge explosion at the foot of the mountain. Quickly leave this place. This place is too dangerous. After Masada finished speaking, she immediately left behind with bad reasons. The destructive power of Masada, who went crazy, can be said to be the first in the world. And this Masada's strength is completely world-destroying level. Boom. Mount Everest collapsed. The huge Mount Everest was blown off by the waste, and the huge mountain fell sideways. Smashed on the ground, causing 1,000 layers of vibration. The landform has changed as a result. The highest peak in the world therefore no longer exists. Lagu and the others, panting, finally ran out of the affected area. However, the fall of the world's #1 peak is really amazing. At the foot of the mountain, Masada stood up. He looked solemn. Looks evil. One side is pure black, while the other is pure white. The whole person is like the division of yin and yang, in the alternation of light and darkness. It looks like Tai Chi. Jung Tai speaks. Finally got the right to use this body. This is the voice of the devil, and it is also the voice of Masada's body. At this moment, Jungta's body was being used by both Jungta and the devil at the same time. However, at the next moment, Masada separated like a mitosis. Long. Chapter 398. Light and Shadow. 1. Advertisement. Masada is like a bacterium. The body splits on the left and right sides, half of which is black, and half is gold. This reaction is very strange, but it is not unexplainable when it appears on Jungta. There are too many reactions that happen to Masada. The sum of these wonderful reactions makes it impossible for anyone to know what will happen to Masada. Masada's spirit is divided into two halves, and the part of the spirit that belongs to the devil is separated, but this part of the spirit is also bonded with Masada's power source, so it cannot be separated from Masada. When he was about to separate, he took away part of Masada's power source. Because of his strong spirit, he turned into a conceptual existence. The Masada itself occupies most of the control of the body. However, when the demon was separated with a part of Masada's power, he was 4777, equivalent to possessing a real body, and the negative emotions of this world were all absorbed by him. The demon's strength quickly recovered, and quickly surpassed the peak. If you look at it from an outsider's perspective, it can only be seen that Masada split into two individuals of light and darkness. Two beams of light rose into the sky, a darkness, a golden color. It's wonderful. Is this the Red King's body? Is this the feeling of having power? The devil licked his fingers and felt the incomparable power. This power is so wonderful. He grabbed it casually, and the space was grabbed into a deformity and twisted into an unspeakable shape. Cut. I'm finally back. This time I have to thank you for the bad reason. Masada clenched his fists and looked at the demon in front of him. But before that, there seems to be one important thing to do. Boom. Masada hit the ground with a punch. I don't care, go. This is no longer a battle you can participate in. The ground shook, sending messages to the surroundings. Then, major radio stations began to broadcast Masada's words. Around Everest, many helicopters took off, and the heroes all began to evacuate. The fall of Mount Everest just now caused great losses to the ecology of this area. And because Mount Everest became a volcano, after the mountain broke, lava rolled down the broken mountain. Masada blames himself very much, and the loss caused by this accident is immeasurable. Looking at the sky too, the sky was raining with lava. I want to kill you on the spot. Masada looked at the demon in front of him, and golden light all over his body appeared. Advertisement, Lord Red King, as long as you kill you, I will be the strongest person in this world. Thank you Lord Red King for creating the environment for me. The devil looked at the gray sky, and the volcanic ash still did not disperse. The whole world was shrouded in haze. This is the lingering haze in the hearts of people in the world. In the past month, pneumonia in this world has also increased. Boom boom boom. The battle began in an instant. The devil and Masada collide with each other. The black flame lava and the white lava excited each other, and the two collided. Layers of the ground were cracked and the ground cracked open, revealing billowing lava. The lava is half black and half white. The strength of the two sides is not much different, but the damage caused is also incredibly staggering. Each punch collided with each other, and the space in the center of the two fists was distorted and collapsed. Then an astonishing might erupted, and mushroom clouds rose into the sky. Outside, on the helicopter, someone was capturing images of two people fighting through a very high-resolution camera. But even the best camera can only capture two people roving through the mushroom cloud. Between the two figures in the battle, they also caused violent explosions from time to time. A mushroom cloud rose. This area is like being baptized by a nuclear bomb. Before long, a black light and a white light crossed and rose into the air. The collision between the two streamers continuously caused new explosions. The mushroom cloud rising in the sky symbolizes the fierce battle between the two strong men. This is no longer a rhythm that humans can keep up with. As Masada said, in this battle, everyone else should retreat. No one can participate in this battle. Just warming up. The two sides are just testing each other's strength. Although it is a split individual, there is one light and one dark. The two people seem to have mitosis, but the actual existence is completely different. The devil entrusts the spirit, and Masada originally possesses this body. But the devil possessed the lava quirk of Masada, but he did not possess it completely. But Masada is more pure because of separating the devil. Advertisement: one side is dark mixed with lava, and the other side is bright lava. First form, open. Guangming Masada and Demon Masada simultaneously opened their own fighting form. The collision just now is just an appetizer. The devil's body is attached with a cuticle, and the surface of the body is also covered with scales. The body becomes harder, and the black lava flows on the body surface, forming a layer of battle clothing. On the other hand, Guangming Masada is a creation of lava, and the bright lava formed a mighty armor, which was draped like a general. It's like a descending angel of judgment. Boom! The clouds were swept away, the airflow in the sky seemed to be contracted, a singularity appeared, and the airflow poured back into the point where the two people collided. Then, the airflow at that point exploded. A big hole was blown out in the sky. This is just an ordinary punch, exuding amazing power. The clouds in the sky also disappeared. The volcanic cloud that had been deposited for a long time had disappeared, and a clear sky appeared. It's just that the hollowness of the sky gives people an extremely uncomfortable feeling. But this is just the beginning. Afterwards, where can I see two light and dark figures, only to see large black holes appearing in the sky? The clouds in the sky also suddenly disappeared. The battle between the two people has been so blurred that they are completely invisible, and occasionally a golden light or black light can be seen passing by. That was the scene where one party was beaten into the air. In one of them, a black light hit the ground at 4.8 and fell from the sky. But then, the earth burst open, the mountains were blackened, melted like ink, and turned into a black quagmire. Once again, the light was knocked to the ground. The ground burned directly, like purgatory, the ground lava rose layer by layer, melting everything. The battle between the two has entered a white-hot stage. Now the whole world is broadcasting the battle between two people. Although no figures can be seen, from the dense black hole, one can see the fierce fighting between the two. This battle is concerned by everyone, because this battle is related to the fate of the world. If the black demon wins, the world may be shrouded in shadow forever. But if Masada wins, there is hope in the world. Chapter 399, Heaven. Advertisement: boom. Lava burst. Guangming Masada attacked with both fists and landed directly on the shoulders of Dark Masada. This blow knocked out his arm. It also penetrated the space and reached the ground, making a deep hole in the ground. But the devil was backing too quickly, and he was more flexible after losing his arm, and in just an instant, a new arm grew from his body. His body is constantly mutating into a shape suitable for fighting. The 8 arms behind him have changed into the shapes of different weapons, and his head has also become 3. Head in 3 directions, looking in 3 different directions. See 6 directions, listen to all directions. With 3 heads and 8 arms, it is an existence born for fighting. But it is fair and honest, and the form is not limited to the human form. In order to win this battle, Komatsu has made changes to his body. He used lava to strengthen his limbs, and 23 had 4 more exoskeletons. The exoskeleton is behind, as if there are 4 arms behind him, and on the 4 arms, there are 4 different weapons. Knives, guns and clubs. I am closing my eyes too much. This kind of battle no longer needs eyes, and my eyes will even become a burden to the battle. Relying on the intuition of combat and the control of heat, Masada can grasp all the combat opportunities. Mainly, the devil in front of him is very good at using light. Use light to confuse him. In the previous battle, the demon used polarized light, which caused a mistake in Masada's battle. That is the time, Masada was hit on the ground. After being hit to the ground, countless dark spears descended from the sky and fell towards him. Masada had to stir up the lava and collide with the dark spear in the sky. When the two meet together, it is like a flame meets butter and melts into each other. Bang bang bang, advertisement. The domain has been expanded long ago, but unlike the original lava country, barriers have been erected around it. At this time, the two of them stepped on a piece of black and white ground respectively. The ground seems to grow on the feet. This means that their field has been expanded. Only those who step into their field can know what kind of situation it is. Although they can be seen in the outside world, in fact their battlefield is no longer in the outside space. Masada and Dark Masada had entered countless superimposed spaces at this time. The kingdom of lava, the kingdom of dark lava, the kingdom of light, the kingdom of darkness, light world, dark world. The 6 different fields are superimposed, corresponding to the growth process of Masada in different periods. The first awakening realm was the lava kingdom, and the kingdom of light has gained the power of the earth's core. The light realm was obtained by the Red King when he awakened his personality. And the Dark Masada naturally possesses similar power to Masada. The two are layered on top of each other in 6 areas. The two continued to rise, hitting the stratosphere, hitting the middle layer, hitting the warm layer, and hitting the dissipation layer. Break directly into the atmosphere and into the universe. Breathing is no longer a problem. Breathing is just to provide nutrients and energy to the body. Both of them were transformed into elemental states at this time, obtaining energy from the atmosphere, and there was no need to breathe. The reporters were also great, and they actually used binoculars to report the news directly, but what they saw was only the traces left by the fighting between the two. Lines of bright fireworks exploded into space. It was so big that the violent explosion could be clearly seen. The gray fireworks exploded inch by inch in space. Beautiful and lonely. Symbolizes death. It symbolizes destruction, but it also symbolizes hope. Masada had already killed her eyes with the devil. He cut off the devil's limbs and head no less than 100 times, but he could never eradicate the opponent. The devil also smashed his eyes. He is now like a spider, with 8 feet stab at Masada, passing through Masada's heart and head again and again. Advertisement. But even though it pierced Masada's body, he couldn't wipe out his lava. Masada was able to recover quickly after cutting off his leg. Life at their level can almost be said to be immortal. I touched my heart too much, knowing that the same trick cannot be used a second time, and this time is different from the last time. This time the other party has his own abilities. The last time was a sudden attack. All the power burst out suddenly, causing the opponent to be directly killed before he had time to react. But this time, the other party must be prepared, and the suicide attack in which you die as me alive is no longer applicable. Both sides stopped at the same time. Red King, nah, let me say, why do we have to beat you to death? We are all strong in this world. The strongest of the two have to fight each other, it's too stupid. Hei Wang started his theory again. He also doesn't have any desire to attack, he just dodges the attack unilaterally. Masada also chased the devil, but the speed difference between the two was not much. They fought and retreated. But just as the devil said, Masada cannot kill the demon, nor can the devil kill Masada. Boom. This punch directly blasted down from top to bottom. The Pacific Ocean below was directly evaporated into a huge cavity, and the seawater was poured in along the cavity. 477. Wherever they go, it must be dark and messy. This battle lasted 3 days and 3 nights. Because he knew that the devil was not dead, immortality is really troublesome. This world doesn't belong to anyone. Don't want to touch a bit of this world. Think about it, if we join forces, there will be no one in this world who can resist us. How about this? You have your ideas, and I have my pursuits. In this world, we are divided into half. How about half of you and half of me? He traveled through the atmosphere and returned to the earth, through the ocean, and into the abyss in the ocean. Sure enough, the demons immediately condensed from the void, like a vacuum cleaner sucking dust, gathered together and formed a complete whole. But you can't kill me. The devil is like a ghost, traveling through the 6 kingdoms. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Masada looked at the demon being broken up, but there was no joy in his heart. The sky, the ground, the sea, and the space have all become their battle zones. Masada didn't answer, but proved his idea with actions. You have also seen that you can't kill me, and I can't kill you. We all have the strongest power in the world. Don't die or live, okay. The demon was obviously bored and changed back to a human form. Chapter 400. After the decisive battle advertisement. On the third night after the decisive battle between the two sides, a huge explosion suddenly appeared in space, which illuminated the night sky. Why, I suddenly felt heartache for no reason. Melissa looked at the light in the sky, her heart suddenly twitched. These 3 days of earthquakes and continuous typhoons are traces of Junda's battle with the demon. The live broadcast has long been unable to track traces of their battles. People have spent the past 3 days in a state of anxiety, and the aftermath of the fighting has spread to the whole world. This is a battle to bet on the fate of the world. Melissa was not the only one who felt the explosion in the sky. People all over the world suddenly felt a sense of sadness for no reason. Uneasy emotions are spreading, and the horrible fluctuations that lasted for 3 days have disappeared. Everyone had a rare sleep. Although sleep is peaceful, people's hearts are restless. The sun was high, the sky was no dust, and the clear sky appeared in people's sight for the first time in a month. There are no horrible fluctuations, and no scorching rain of fire. There was no sudden overwhelming darkness covering the world. Everything seems to have never happened. If it weren't for Mount Everest lying sideways on the ground, with bright red lava flowing, people might think it was an epic dream. The battle, is it over? Yayan stood on the roof and looked at the sky. He could not touch Masada and didn't know Masada's future. This earth-shattering battle, as well as the month before the battle, promoted the growth of Hero's society. The sense of crisis and urgency is driving the growth of a new generation of Hero's. Lagu Chuju, Deku Hero's, has 70% of One for All. Shoto Todoroki perfectly controlled the power of ice and fire, and through acquired simulations, learned the short-term elementalization by learning from the ice youths privately cultivated by the 100 Billion Consortium. Bakugo has improved the power of the explosion and the accuracy of blasting through hard training. The young Hero's have been greatly improved under pressure, and the adult Hero's also realized their shortcomings and began to exercise more hard. Advertisement 1 month after the World War. On a small island in the west, there is a man lying on the ground here. Hey, are you okay? Boy, are you still alive? Cold and rough hands patted Masada's face lightly. I opened my eyes too softly. Blue sky and white clouds. Turn around, the blue sea. Are you awake? You didn't agree after calling you for a long time. We are still worried that you will not wake up like this. Masada looked at the people in front of him, all of them were bearded fishermen. What is your name? Where do you come from? How come you are here? As she listened to the unintelligible language, she frowned. My head hurts. Where is I? Who is it? A voice echoed in Masada's head. This world cannot tolerate the existence of evil like you. Call out. His thoughts were pulled back to reality, and he was breathing heavily. Where did the image appear from? Who is he? Just looking at the fishermen in front of him. Their language has gradually become clear and understand the meaning. Where did I come from? Masada muttered to himself. Crazy, this kid is crazy. The fisherman shrugged, sighed and said, don't be afraid of the kid, you may be a kid brought by the sea monster. There will always be some children floating on the sea in this area, and none of them. The previous memory, the legend says, they were all sucked up by the sea monster. The fisherman said to Masada with a serious face. After hearing this fisherman say this, Jengma felt a little creepy. Thinking of a mermaid monster with a pointed tongue sucking his brain, it makes people shudder to think about it. Advertisement, looking at you. The fisherman added later. You, was too silent. This cold joke is really unacceptable. He took a sigh of relief and looked around, all of which were unfamiliar scenery. He felt very confused. Seeing Masada's expression, the fisherman said, since I don't know where he came from, do you want to come to live in our house first? Our house just happened to have a vacant bed. The fisherman said so. Nodded too much, he couldn't refuse, otherwise he has no fixed place now, and in order to understand the mystery of his identity, it is necessary to ask for some information everywhere. Everything in his past seems to have become a mystery, an insoluble mystery. This quirk, after being developed, should be of great use. Masada looked at the fisherman's quirk operation, and felt that this quirk was not, as Jiao, simple. Masada and the fisherman took a fishing boat to the sea. The fisherman's quirk is a kind of psychological suggestion, but it can only suggest some small animals. Masada followed the fisherman. The fisherman said, we are just going out to fish, and we will go home later. Why don't you just follow us to fish? The fisherman wiped his sweat, looked into the distance, and said, speaking of fishing, I have the best fishing skills in these 10 miles and 8 bays. People in this bay have been fishing for a living for generations. In fact, in this era when Hero's is born in large numbers, fishing has long been a matter of special attention. People pay attention to Hero's, and ignore some people around them. Fishing is no longer our means of livelihood. A war broke out a month ago. People's demand for food has increased, and the price of fish has also risen. Before long, Masada saw that the net of the other party was full of fish sweat. The fisherman pointed to himself proudly, and said proudly, "My quirk is called shun pole climbing, which is most suitable for fishing." This psychological suggestion has a peculiar effect, allowing creatures to break through their physical limits. For example, if a squirrel thinks that it can fly under the suggestion of a fisherman, that squirrel can really fly. When he cast the net, the fish saw the net, but they felt that it was their home, and they climbed up the net. The fisherman's fishing boat is a small fishing boat, like a speedboat, but it is bigger and slower than the speedboat. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. After the fisherman and Masada explained their quirk, they touched their head and said, "Actually, I also know that my quirk is not as simple as it seems, but 3 generations of our family are fishermen, and fishing has long been us. The habit of using this quirk for fishing is actually quite good." He nodded too much. He knew all the basic common sense of life, but he really had to remember where he knew it, but he couldn't remember it at all. The fisherman got off the net while drinking on the boat, and the fish climbed up directly along the net. Seeing this net too, I felt very strange. The fisherman said with his back to Masada. Chapter 401. What is Hero, S, and #8197. Advertisement. Masada sat on the boat and listened to the story told by the fisherman for a long time. The fisherman is actually not too busy. Because of his quirk, he only needs to cast the net and he can catch a lot of fish inside his net. What the boatman has to do is to bring up the fishing nets at intervals. The boat was full of dang fish, so much on the entire deck, almost impossible to fit. I was staring at these fishes too thoughtfully. Hero, S. This word is so familiar. The fisherman has been talking about Hero, S, and quirk and making a living. The word Hero, S, has been lingering in Masada's mind. The sun has set, let's go back, the fisherman said while looking at the setting sun. There was a loud noise before he came back to his senses. Then, the fisherman took the net and released the fish. Well, why do you want to do this? Masada is very puzzled, because the fisherman has caught the fish for a day, and now he wants to release the fish. Masada doesn't understand why. The fisherman saw Masada's puzzled expression, so he explained with a smile, "Are you puzzled why I want to do this?" Masada looked at the fisherman's smiling face and nodded. He was very confused. 477. The fisherman said, "I'm fishing just to satisfy my pleasure. Actually, someone from my family has already managed to live in the city. I have 18 houses in the city. I can collect hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in rent, and I don't lack money at all. Fishing on the sea is just for fun." Masada has a black line on her face. Sure enough, money makes people lose their troubles. I understand too well and have values, but I have lost the specific memory of these things. This feeling is very strange, like Masada knows how to speak, but forgets how he learned to speak. This knowledge, as well as common sense, lived in Masada's body like instinct. Masada took this ship and returned to the bay. The fisherman led Masada back to his home. The fisherman's house is a villa next to the Seacliff Lighthouse. Masada saw this villa. Although she knew that it was expensive, she didn't feel any shock in her inexplicable heart. Instead, she felt a sense of habit. Where do these feelings come from? Advertisement. What's too strange is this problem. Welcome the host back. At the door, a black waiter bowed to the fisherman with a plate in his hand. The fisherman waved his hand and said with a smile, "Come to the guests at home today, and treat them well." The waiter responded and immediately went down to arrange dinner. "Today's dinner is karting. Is it okay?" Entering the inner hall, another waiter in a black dress asked the fisherman. "Oh, is it that fish with very delicious meat and a lot of juice? It's very good, so I decided it was the one." The fisherman looked happy. The waiter immediately went down to make arrangements. It didn't take long for the sound of footsteps to be heard, and the room in front of him became brightly lit. The fisherman took Masada around in the villa's yard without rush, and introduced Masada one by one to the plants planted in his yard. Masada looked at these plants, but his thoughts flew out of the sky. After a while, the bell rang in the house, and the fisherman said, "It's time for dinner, let's go in." The fisherman brought the Masada into the house. There was nothing Masada had imagined. The big table was full of unfinished meals. In front of Masada, there were only 2 large plates on a table. The waiter lifted the plate, and under the plate was 2 pieces of fish. "Come on, it's delicious." The fisherman didn't have any arrogance of rich people. Instead, he smiled and invited Masada to eat at the table. As she picked up the knife and fork, she was a little bit embarrassed. The fisherman is too enthusiastic. "Why do you help me like this?" Masada asked, looking at the fisherman. The fisherman was stunned, looked at the Masada and said, "Why is there? Because your face says, CDEI, I need help." Masada's heart warmed up, and a familiar feeling rose to his heart. It seems that I have said this to someone somewhere. On this day, Masada fell asleep in an empty room after eating. The fisherman called Masada early the next day. He said that he would take Masada to a doctor to see if Masada had any mental illness. Your mental problem is probably caused by some stimulation. If you receive the same stimulation one day, you may be able to restore your memory. The fisherman sat in front and drove the car and said to Masada. The car walked leisurely on the mountain road, very leisurely. Masada looked out the window. Outside the car, there was a sea of Wangyang. Advertisement: the mountain path is very narrow and long, like a small snake hovering on the mountain. The fisherman began to talk about Masada's possible reasons for this situation. But the final summary is still one sentence. You have to trust the doctor and listen to the doctor's words. What I say is just a guessing. The specific situation still depends on the expert's opinion. Masada has a black line on her face. Are all the things you said before farting? However, this journey did not seem so smooth. When the car was halfway through, it suddenly turned off. Then the car stopped. The place where the car parked was a forest trail without any vehicles passing by. Strange, why did it turn off? I remember it was filled with oil before I left. The fisherman was surprised, so he got out of the car to observe. However, at this time, people in uniform appeared one after another beside the surrounding trees. Oh, this is the rich fisherman? The head was a man with a red turban on his head. Masada saw these people as if they were not kind. There were a total of 18 people, 5 of them had guns in their hands, and 13 of them had sharp weapons in their hands. The sharp weapons are long knives and some are electric shockers. Mr. Fisher, we seem to be in trouble. She frowned too much and looked at the people around her. Well, it seems to be. The fisherman swallowed. Then he raised his hands and said, Masters, do you want my money? I don't have any cash with me. I have a watch with a value of $1.5 million. Can this be used to exchange my freedom? The fisherman knew that he did not have enough fighting power to fight with them. Unexpectedly, the uniformed man in front of him did not respond, but raised the gun in his hand. Said, Sorry, someone paid a higher price to buy your life. The fisherman's pupils shrank. No, I can make 3 million, everything on me. The leader grabbed the trigger lightly. 15 million. The car can also be given to you, and there are other things in my car that can be used as a mortgage. Bang. Gunshots sounded. Chapter 402. Whose power? Advertisement. The gun shot, and the man fell. A red liquid came out of Masada's forehead and fell straight to the ground. What did you do? He is innocent. The fisherman looked at the fallen lady on the left, his hands trembling. This is a warning to you. If you hide again and are dishonest, next time, the bullet from this gun will fall on your head. I count 3 times. The uniformed man straightened his gun. 3. Here you are, everything in me is for you. 2. What do you want? What do you want me to give you? It's a pity that you seem to be an uninformed person. 1. The uniformed man pulled the trigger. Boom. A red light flickered in front of the fisherman, and the bullet disappeared out of thin air. What's the matter? The uniformed man frowned, feeling a little strange. Then he waved. Everyone around started shooting. Most of them have submachine guns in their hands. The dense bullets hit the fisherman like wasps in a hornet's nest. However, red ripples appeared on the fisherman's body, and the bullet hit a certain area around the fisherman, and it vaporized directly. She touched her forehead too much, and stood up from the ground with a pained expression on her face. What happened? The fisherman stood still, at a loss. What a joke. The intelligence doesn't say he has such a quirk. Damn. The man in the lead became huge with a fist and struck the fisherman. Look at how you hide. Stabbing when the smell of barbecue came, and the man's huge fist was burned directly into Pig's feet. What? Damn it, what is it? So hot, it looks like lava. Joseon, you go. The leading man retracted his hand, and he could already see the bones in his hand. A covered, masked man walked up next to him, took off his gloves, his hands were covered with lava. It's a coincidence, is your quirk also lava? After finishing speaking, he rushed to the front, a lava ball condensed with his right hand and pressed it against the opponent. Masada didn't know where the courage came from, so he subconsciously rushed to the fisherman and raised his hand to block the fisherman. Cut. You dare to stand in front of me. Johnson didn't pay attention to Masada at all. Advertisement. The rubbish should die. Xiao Sen slammed a punch on Jungma's head. The hot lava erupted, causing an explosion on Masada's head. However, Masada did not fall, nor did he slide. He stood still, raised his eyes, and looked at Johnson in front of him coldly. What a joke. Boom. Johnson punched again, however, this time Masada grabbed his hand. Lava? Red ripples also appeared on Masada's hands. It turned out to be your lava. Johnson burst open all over his combat uniform. Exposed a body burning with lava. Your little lava, can you compete with me? Masada still held his hand, and the lava in his hand was shining, changing from red to gold. Boom. A hot golden light burst out. The lava-covered monster's arm was disconnected from the elbow, and then his arm broke, and bright red blood flowed out. Ah! The lava man fell to the ground and screamed, his face pale. What did you do? The severe pain made the man tremble all over. Looking at him too coldly, the man raised his other hand and shouted hurriedly, the lava burst. Bang! A small explosion exploded in Masada's face, and Masada had nothing to do. It's a familiar move name. Masada also raised his hand to the man. Lava burst. Boom. A small mushroom cloud rose up in this woodland. There are birds flying out of the woods. The fisherman was sitting on the ground without his body, and he shivered behind Masada. Except for the fisherman in the car, all other villains were completely destroyed by this shock. Are you okay? Masada reached out to the fisherman. The fisherman looked at Masada's hand, a little horrified, and after trembling for a while, he hesitated to stretch out his hand. Masada is not in a hurry, let alone urging, just keeps the posture of stretching out his hand all the time. Finally, the fisherman put his hand on Masada's hand, and when he pulled Masada, he stood up. Jono, this is my name, the fisherman said with an awkward smile. For so long, I haven't introduced my name. Chao Nuo touched the back of his head, feeling a little sorry. It's okay. Masada also smiled at him. I got into the car and looked at my hands in a daze. Advertisement boom. Suddenly the lava burned up, and Zheng was taken aback by himself. Beg for flowers. Then the lava went out again. It feels so familiar. Is this my quirk, Jono? Masada turned his hands left and right, feeling a little weird. Now it seems that it must be your quirk. After all, there is only you besides me. Januo drove in front. He cared very much. What on earth did this gang come for? Not being moved by money. What is it for? The two quickly entered the city. Masada and Chao Nuo went directly to the hospital, and Chao Nuo's cash capability was still very useful. Masada was directly received by a professional doctor. The professional doctor looked at the wife, touched her chin and meditated for a while, and said, "Your face looks familiar, but where have you seen it?" Zero, he thought hard, and finally sighed and said, "I'm old, I can't remember it anymore." When Masada heard these words, she suddenly became energetic. "You said you met me. Where did you see it?" Don't get excited, don't get excited. The doctor pressed Masada's shoulder and said, "I just said that I have seen you, or maybe it's just a sense of sight. Isn't it just to cure your amnesia? Don't worry." The doctor calmed down the anxious mood and said, "Okay, cooperate with me." The doctor took out a pocket watch from his arms and swayed it in front of Masada. Tick, tick. A violent explosion, traveling through the explosion, across the sky and the ocean. The doctor was shocked out of his dream and fell into a feeling of dizziness. Burning flames, debris on the ground, and volcano edges are so fast that they can't fight any faster. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Then a violent spiritual wave came, darkness arises. The doctor squinted his eyes and his eyes turned green. The doctor immediately took out the cell phone, but at this time. He is Lava Hero S. He looked towards Masada's dream. Lava Hero S. is back. This is just what I want, for a long time. Doctor. How is he? Chao Nuo asked the doctor suddenly when he saw the doctor. Call the Hero S. Association soon and say that Lava Hero S. is back. The lamp burst. The whole room was dark. The collision of light and darkness, scenes of epic scenes like Hollywood blockbusters, are reflected in the doctor's eyes. Outside the room, there was a clatter of footsteps. Masada suddenly fell into a coma. Chapter 403 Lava Hero S. Advertisement. I just wanted to see a doctor, but I didn't expect to encounter Lava Hero S. here. The door was opened, and the one outside was actually Tamura Shigaraki. How could I run into him here? Tamura Shigaraki has thin and dense sutures on his body, and his body seems to be no longer what he used to be. This is wanted criminal number 013, how could he be here? The doctor was shocked when he saw Tamura Shigaraki. In the past month, many things have happened. Afo took advantage of the chaos of the battle to get out of prison. The enemy united and regrouped. This time the enemy united and combined many forces. Although the strongest evil has been wiped out by the strongest hero S. But the Lava Hero S. disappeared, which also made many evils in this society ready to move again. The society seems to have changed overnight. Hero S. are under pressure from the environment, and their strength has increased sharply under the pressure of the huge 488. Because of the top effect, villains have also begun to pursue more powerful forces. Hero S. took Masada as the benchmark, while villains took the devil as the example, setting off an unprecedented wave of chasing. Tamura Shigaraki, now given the ability of AFO, and in the ruins of the demon laboratory that has been destroyed, got some fragments of the transformation plan of the living dead. After special transformation, Tamura Shigaraki can gain more abilities. Tamura Shigaraki now touched the door, and the door collapsed in his hand, turning into inches of stone dust. I am still asleep. Unexpectedly, the Lava Hero S. is still alive. As long as you kill him, there will be no Hero S. in this world that can stop us. Tamura Shigaraki did not hesitate, immediately shot and stepped out. It's about to be close to Masada. As long as Masada is touched by him, he will die. However, boom. A powerful heat wave blows Tamura Shigaraki away. He was beaten out of the house directly, hit into the wall, embedded in the wall, unable to come out. Snoring, Jengma is still snoring. What the hell? Tamura Shigaraki broke the surrounding wall and got out of the wall. The Lava Hero S. in front of him was obviously asleep and had no combat effectiveness. But even so, is it still impossible to get close? Lava Hero S. Get up. Januo shook Jengma's shoulder, but Jengma was still snoring and didn't mean to wake up. Advertisement, doctor. How would he wake up? The doctor shook his head and said, it is estimated that I will be unable to wake up at a half time. My hypnotic ability. Hypnosis will make people fall asleep for half an hour, not more than a minute, but not less than a minute. During this time, even the patient I won't wake up if I was struck by thunder. What do you do then? Januo watched the angry Tamura Shigaraki walk step by step, panicking. That's the notorious most wanted 13th criminal. However, the doctor did not panic. The doctor said with a smile, don't worry about this. If he is a real lava hero, then we will be fine. Why? Jano asked puzzledly. At this moment, Tamura Shigaraki rushed over again. Boom. Suddenly a lava burned up and completely surrounded Tamura Shigaraki. In this case, the patient who was hypnotized by me will defend itself instinctively, that is to say, the one who is asleep now is the most powerful lava hero, the strong who saves the world. Chao Nuo looked at Masada again, and when he looked at Masada, it suddenly felt different. The man in front of him seemed to have grown up in an instant. From there, the boy who was very confused about his identity found at the seaside became an indomitable hero, who can change the world and bring everyone a sense of security. Chao Nuo suddenly remembered that yesterday he was on the fishing boat and said so many complaints about hero, and he suddenly felt irritable. Cut. Tamura Shigaraki did not continue pursuing, but went back. Hero, found the lava, please support immediately. Tamura Shigaraki is very smart, obviously he knows the doctor's quirk very well. Have you seen him before? Januo asked. I should have seen it, but under their threat, today he estimates that he still wants to use threatening means to get me to repair his body. The doctor sighed. As soon as Tamura Shigaraki's voice fell, there was the sound of a broken window. The wind was violent outside, and the glass windows in this room were broken open, and the shards of glass were about to pierce the faces of the doctor and Jano. However, a bright red lava suddenly appeared. The glass dross disappeared in an instant. From outside the window, there was a gargoyle with wings flapping, and a pair of black elite teams were sneaking in. A rope hangs down. Advertisement. Those people in black followed the rope and climbed into this room. Don't worry, as long as we don't have malicious intent on our lava hero, he will not hurt you, Tamura Shigaraki said to his subordinates. With guns in their hands, his men surrounded Masada. The lava on Masada rises, as if there is life around Masada. On the other side, Chao Nuo and the doctor did not dare to move, standing at the right and left of Masada. They know that the closer you are to Masada, the safer you are. But it's no way to go on like this. Tamura Shigaraki began to order his subordinates. On number 001, you gently hold your gun against the forehead of our lava hero, friend, just like touching your lover. Remember, it is gentle and there is no malice. When the soldier with 001 written on his clothes number heard it, he directly executed the order, walked gently in front of Masada, and raised his gun on Masada's head. Shot. Jano and the doctor did not stop, nor dared to stop, because now they are being pointed at by more than a dozen guns. Boom. The gunfire rang. The person who pointed the gun at Masada had a clear blood hole in his head. He fell on his back and became unconscious. Cut, isn't it a fuel-efficient lamp? 4.8. Tamura Shigaraki didn't try to put his hand on Shanta's head. If Shanta had reacted to the attack before then, he might die at that moment. After all, it is the strongest hero, there is no doubt about it. Even AFO can't match it. But Tamura Shigaraki didn't want to let go of this rare opportunity. The other party was hypnotized and was in a state of powerlessness. If this still couldn't kill Mr. Tai. In the future, the chance of killing Masada will be even slimmer. Tamura Shigaraki suddenly thought of an idea. He pointed to the doctor and said, "You, push me the lava hero, The doctor was pointed at, a little scared, and his legs were shaking. Chao Nuo wanted to say something, but the guns around him were pointed at him, and he dared not move a little. Chapter 404 Coercion Advertisement. The doctor pushed Masaru up to Tamura Shigaraki. Tamura Shigaraki looked at the wife and slowly said, "Lava hero, you finally fell into my hands." Tamura Shigaraki looked at the wife who was being pushed over. Suppressing the mood swings in his heart, if he had a little bit of malice towards Masada, he would immediately be shaken away by the lava around Masada. How could Tamura Shigaraki give up such a good opportunity? You just need to gently put your hand on Masada's body, and then urge the quirk to collapse. You can kill the lava hero, Masada was still in a state of fainting, and he didn't know anything about the outside world. Tamura Shigaraki looked at the Jengma who was pushed over, feeling very excited, like a little boy who wants to see a girl who has his first love. A wave of excitement. The feeling of expectation stretched the time. Da. Every step became long, and the doctor pushed Masada. But this process seems to last for 100 million years. Masaru finally came to Tamura Shigaraki. Tamura Shigaraki stretched out his hand. Masada's head is in front of him. He just needs to gently put his hand over it. Just like 23 is the soldier who just put the gun on Masada's head gently, Masada will not resist any resistance during this process. However, it is such a simple action that Tamura Shigaraki could not do. The lava hero, in front of him is like a big mountain, like an active volcano about to erupt. Tamura Shigaraki felt that putting his hand over it was like putting his hand in the hot lava. Halfway through his hand, it became extremely slow. Tamura Shigaraki felt fear, and this fear was infinitely amplified. The expectation just now quickly became the horror of facing the unknown. Lava hero, has become unattainable. Damn it, Tamura Shigaraki glared at him. I pressed my hand to the top of Masada's head, taste. The top of Masada's head seemed to be turned into stone, and began to petrify. Then gradually collapsed. Advertisement, aha, ahaha. Tamura Shigaraki looked excited and laughed too wildly. Ha 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 ha. Lava hero, but that's it, lava hero, in the face of my collapse quirk, is still vulnerable. It only needs to be so soft, lightly. Tamura Shigaraki's eyes suddenly shrinked. Light emerged from the broken body. Tamura Shigaraki discovered that the Masada in front of him not only did not die, but became even more terrifying. The collapsed surface turned into a rock and fell off, but after the rock fell off, it was a golden body. Hikari opened his eyes. A coercion fell in this room. Thump. Those with guns were all crushed to the ground, as if they had been subjected to 1,000 times the gravity. They were firmly crushed and unable to move. Masada looked at Tamura Shigaraki in front of him with indifferent eyes. Tamura Shigaraki was also forcibly pressed on the ground because of this pressure. Kneeling on the ground, he knelt in front of Masada, his hands clinging to the ground. He didn't want his limbs to touch the ground without dignity. What the hell are you? Tamura Shigaraki gritted his teeth, bleeding from his mouth. Masada's coercion is too strong. Tamura Shigaraki's teeth were all cracked as he wanted. He coughed out 2 teeth, and the Masada in front of him was simply not the same life form as him. How strong that demon must be to make the existence in front of him face it like this. Tamura Shigaraki began to fantasize about the power of demons. Bang, but there is no chance for him to think more. Masada just breath prevents him from breathing, dizzy and almost unconscious. However, just when he was about to be unable to hold on, the powerful pressure suddenly disappeared. Snoring. The snoring sound came again. Tamura Shigaraki looked at the person in front of him incredulously. This person, did he fall asleep again? This is indeed the case. Masada is sitting in a chair, tilting his head and snoring. The place previously destroyed by Tamura Shigaraki was glowing with golden red light, and that place was slowly repairing. Soon, Masada's body changed back to a perfect body without any blemishes. Tamura Shigaraki did not dare to attack Masada anymore, but immediately turned around and ran away hurriedly. He didn't care about those subordinates at all. Advertisement. Let them fend for themselves. The pressure just now has probably crushed the bones of those soldiers completely, and Tamura Shigaraki is able to withstand the pressure of gravity because of the technological body strengthening. Those soldiers are just well-trained normal people, and it is absolutely impossible to survive under such a strong pressure. Lava hero, really is a huge threat. Tamura Shigaraki left silently, put on a black cloak, and disappeared into a dark alley. 30 minutes passed quickly, waking up too dazedly. He opened his sleepy eyes, but saw the house in a mess. What happened here? Masada asked the doctor. However, the doctor smiled awkwardly and didn't know how to answer. Then the doctor looked at Chao Nuo. Jano sat down. Kicked the gunman beside him aside with his feet. Begin to explain to Masada what just happened and Masada's true identity. As Masada listened to Chao Nuo's story, his expression was surprised at first, his eyes widened, and then became a little frightened. There was such a powerful force in his body, and it was more than a certain level of power that made people scared. After listening to Januo's words, Masada shook his head and said that he hadn't remembered anything. Although he sounds like a great person, Masada really doesn't have those memories. Otherwise, go and see the people before? Chao Nuo made this proposal. Maybe they will have any good suggestions. At this moment, the police came. A great commotion just happened here, which naturally alarmed the police. When the police came here, they didn't recognize Jengma at first sight. In fact, Masada's appearance is much simpler than the appearance of fighting the devil on TV. At that time, Masada was as mighty as a god of war. But the current Masada is as simple as an ordinary big boy. It can be said that there is a huge difference between the two. If you don't deliberately identify it, you really can't recognize it. But just like this, the police immediately realized the seriousness of the matter and immediately requested that Masada be taken to the police station for fingerprint comparison. Just to agree, Chao Nuo followed the police and Jengma to the police station. The fingerprints entered by Masada in the fingerprint database were compared quickly. Welcome back, Lava Hero, Number 1. Do you have any instructions? As soon as the fingerprint information was successfully matched, a vivid little girl appeared on the computer screen. What is this? Chapter 405 Magical Physique Advertisement. Well, speaking of it, there are some legends. The police looked at this system, and there was a fanatical look in their eyes. The look in Masada's eyes also became a bit enthusiastic. He held Shota's hand with both hands and said, Mr. Igarashi Shota. Do you know, I am your fan. You were really handsome when you fought the last battle. Thank you for protecting us from the hands of the devil and defending us. Home. The Masada who has lost her memory is a little uncomfortable with being so enthusiastic about him. Masada pulled her hand back and said embarrassingly, I don't remember what you said. The police realized that he seemed a bit rude, so he took his hand back, touched his head, and said embarrassedly, that's it. In fact, when you disappeared, we established a system, as long as you have any identity. As long as the recognized electronic device can recognize your identity, your assistant, Shaolon, will pop up immediately. The policeman pointed to the little girl who appeared on the screen and said, since you disappeared, no matter what manufacturer it is, as long as it produces electronic instruments, it must be accompanied by this small program. Masada was shocked to hear him explain this. Is your own existence really so important? It is important to design a small program specifically for yourself to find yourself. Masada feels a bit weird. All this is unfamiliar to him. Getting such special treatment made him a little uncomfortable. Mr. Police, what should I do now? Masada felt a little at a loss, because he didn't have any pre-preparation at all. He suddenly woke up and heard that his true identity was a world-famous person. After that, he passed the identity verification and verified that what Chao Nuo said was true. The police looked serious and said to Zheng Tai, Mr. Lava Hero, we have not disclosed your existence to anyone for the time being, because we don't know if you are performing any special tasks and need to keep your existence secret. There are even some top-secret tasks that need to erase the memory of the person performing the task, so that he can complete the task without knowing or knowing it. We cannot guarantee whether you are performing such a confidential task, so there is no leakage. The slightest sound of wind. The police said solemnly. Advertisement. Then he made a hissing gesture and whispered. This room is absolutely airtight and soundproofed. No one can hear our conversation in it. But then the police looked at Januo who was beside Zhengta again. He looked suspicious. Chao Nuo waved his hand, smiled awkwardly, and said, okay, I won't disclose this matter. Zheng Tu hugged his chin and began to think quietly. Indeed, he may have accepted the top-secret task just as the other party said. Masada didn't know whether he wanted to retrieve his previous memories. Speaking of it, is there really such a task? If you lose your memory, you don't know what your task goal is. How should you perform it? But as the police said, there might be a big traitor behind the scenes. At the same time, I was caught in a dilemma. Is it to settle down and watch the changes, or to find my own memory? If Mr. Lava Hero, is in trouble, why not come and live at my house? The police said. The policeman is a chubby policeman with a nice face. Masada glanced at Januo. Chao Nuo smiled crookedly and said, indeed, it would be better to live with the police, it is very convenient in all aspects. Masada looked at the policeman and nodded, agreed. But let's keep in touch with each other. I will pick you up tomorrow and see the doctor again, to see what causes your memory to be missing, whether it is man-made or a natural disaster. If it is man-made, it cannot be ruled out to do the task. It's possible, but if it's a natural disaster, let's find a way to restore our memory. Chao Nuo said to Zheng Tai. The Masada saved his life, so she should help him to the end. Thank you so much, Jono. The police suddenly grabbed Masada's hands again. I never thought that one day I could live under the same roof with Hero, who saved the world, Hero, of number 1. Advertisement. As he touched the back of his head too much, he still couldn't stand the enthusiasm. My name is Zheng. In fact, I am a neon person. It has been a long time since Japan came to work here. After the First World War, the pattern of the entire world has changed, and security positions around the world are being mobilized. I don't know how they adjusted it, so they transferred me from the banana country to England. Lava appears on the body, although it is not as good as when you have a memory, but how can you use some basic power, at least control lava, and you can still use it? Masada didn't know how to complain about this ability. Masada felt that the police seemed a little weird to mobilize. By the way, Mr. Lava Hero, would you like to go on patrol with me? There are still 2 hours left in today's class. Usually I am a little scared to walk outside alone. Although I am a policeman, my combat effectiveness not high. If you encounter a stronger villains, there will be no way. Plus I have this kind of trouble-prone physique, so if money has a. There is also the Lava Kingdom skill written in the Hero's textbook. I don't know what the principle is. She smiled helplessly. If a strong helper is by my side, I will still feel more at ease. But Masada can't get it out now. Elementalization seems to be subconsciously stimulated in times of danger, but active stimulation is a bit difficult. So he asked, why are you always being transferred by the employer, with such a large span? I heard that the self who has memory will also become lava and elemental. The chubby policeman touched the back of his head shyly. The police felt a little embarrassed, and said, I seem to have a physique that attracts incidents. As long as I am by my side, the probability of occurrence of various cases will increase. Relatively, the difficulty of solving various unsettled cases will also be reduced. Originally planned a perfect criminal action, there will always be various loopholes because of my appearance, so I was regarded as the treasure of the case. After knowing that I was such a powerful person, there was nothing to be afraid of. The police continued. I have only been here for a month. I have been in Banana Country for 3 or 4 years, but I still have worked in Neon for the longest time, 7 or 8 years. Chapter 406 Patrol Advertisement. Masada followed the police out. By the way, you don't need to call me Mr. Police all the time. In fact, my nickname is also good. My nickname is Mr. Danger, because dangerous things happen all the time by my side. The fat policeman was embarrassed. Touched the back of his head. After all, this is not something worth showing off. Just two nodded and tried to shout, "Mr. Danger?" Mr. Danger nodded excitedly. Masada didn't know why he was so excited to be called like this. At the same time I felt strange, I also felt a little nauseous. Follow Mr. Danger on a white motorcycle and start patrolling. Although the policeman said so fascinatingly, in fact, there was no danger in the way of the patrol. On the contrary, Jung was too much to feast his eyes on. Masada looked at the surrounding scenery with a novel feeling. After all, it was the first time I came to a big city after amnesia, and I would always feel fascinated to see the bustling city. But then too soon there was a lot of sense of sight, the feeling that I had seen it thousands of times and was bored with it. Suddenly the freshness is gone. In this way, riding behind the police and patrolling a small area, nothing strange happened. Masada exhaled a 480 sound. It seems that this policeman said so mysteriously, it will not happen in reality. If it is true that this policeman has always been plagued by disasters. Masada just thought of this. Suddenly there was a loud noise. Boom. Masada looked towards the sky, and there was an explosion in the building. It was too late to say that it was fast, and the fat policeman was more agile than he looked. The foot gently wiped the ground, and then a tail wagging stopped the car, and then took out the rope and hook from the waist, and flicked it towards the building, directly began to climb the wall, just like Spider-Man flying over the wall. The Masada looked dumbfounded. Soon the policeman arrived upstairs. Hey, another rope flew out, and the policeman came down with a person on his back. What happened? Masada asked immediately. This process didn't even last for half a minute. It was all about watching the policeman on the show. Advertisement. Masada hasn't recovered from the explosion. The gas exploded, people have been rescued, and the gas has been turned off. Fortunately, there are not many gas leaks, and there is an explosion suppression device in the room, so there is not much loss. CDEI. Mr. Danger began to explain the situation to Masada. Mr. Danger, you are great. Masada's eyes shined. This Mr. Danger said that he has no strength and he is weak, but he is actually much more reliable than he looks. He looked like a shy fat man, but he didn't expect his skills to be so agile. Where is it? If it's Lava Hero S, it must be better than me. Mr. Danger put the person down and called an ambulance. Then an ambulance came and picked up the people. Things have come to an end. If I did it, the lava would detonate the gas. It's too dangerous, but you should do it well. However, the policeman froze for a moment and said, Lava Hero S, don't you have 2 quirks? Masada was also stunned. He didn't even know that he had 2 quirks, and now he is only able to use lava for the first time. Ah, it's okay, it's just a rumor from the outside world. The rumors say that the Lava Hero S has 2 quirks, one is lava, the other is physical enhancement, and the 2 quirks are combined to become number 1. Hero S. But rumors are rumors and cannot be taken seriously. Whether it is true or not is only you understand. The police smiled apologetically. Continued to say, I didn't mean to inquire about your secret. Each Hero S has its own secret, a secret that cannot be discovered and used by villains. Masada nodded and said, actually, I don't know what my second quirk is, but if the second quirk is for physical strengthening, I guess there is. With that, Masada moved 10 meters away in an instant, like a teleportation. This extraordinary speed. Masada threw a punch at the sky. Monument. The sound of the sonic boom sounded, and ripples of air appeared in the air. This is beyond the power of ordinary people. Mr. Danger was completely stunned. After a while, so cool, I waved my arm too proudly, and I was really good. Let's continue on the road. Okay. When the police heard the Jingma say this, he immediately stepped on his white motorcycle, stepped on the accelerator with 2 feet, and directly accelerated away. Advertisement. After driving for a while, the patrol was about to be completed, but suddenly an uncoordinated voice came from my ears. Stop him. Who will help me stop him? Masada looked to one side, only to see a man dressed in punk style running on the street. Behind him was a group of hotel staff in work uniforms. Mr. Police. Help us stop him. He ran too fast. He eats King's meal. As soon as Mr. Danger heard the incident, he immediately raised the head of the motorcycle. A dragon swung its tail, turned around, and chased the man. The man who eats the king's meal is unforgivable. Grass. Why the police are here? After all, the person directly raised his hands, and thin lines appeared in his hands, and those thin lines were let out like a net. Die. Danger. Masada did not hesitate at all, as if it were the instinct engraved in the body. One step further and the lava in his hand glowed. Masada smiled and answered, like a boy next door, without any high-level aura. The cutting net just burned. Mr. Danger did not react. Good, fast. A net-like flame ignited in midair. From his perspective, only a net-like flame was igniting in the sky, and then the man suddenly fell to the ground. At this time, Masada's figure changed from imaginary to reality. Noisy. Is this the strength of Lava Hero? Mr. Danger swallowed. Those thin wires are like extremely thin steel wires, without any feeling of flexibility. If the police ran into it like this, they would probably be cut into several halves. It's like the sound of roasting corn over fire. This is probably not the strength of the Lava Hero. I'm sorry, Mr. Danger. I still can't control my power well. I guess it is much worse than the Lava Hero. In your mouth. Hold this man and hand him over to the police. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. All the actions were done in one go. Masada castrated, but just hurried to catch up with the man. Hold your hands, buckle back, and press on the ground. Lava Hero, you are really my idol. I am about to cry, Mr. Danger said, wiping his tears. When people reacted, the man who ate the king's meal had been subdued. Chapter 407 Rest Day Advertisement. Masada was lying on the bed leisurely. The police's house was just a small public rental house, but Masada felt surprisingly warm. This small space brought Masada great psychological comfort. Hero, do you need a bath? The policeman came out of his bathroom wearing a bathrobe. He wiped his hair and looked at Jengma kindly. Masada didn't know when he was so leisurely last time. After all, he has lost his memory. But from a sensation point of view, it seems that a long time has passed since I could have a good rest. Masada nodded and smiled back. Bath towels and bathrobes are in the bathroom. They have just been opened and new. Mr. Danger and Yan Yushin said to Masada, and they left the door of the room as they spoke. Just got up and went to the bathroom. The bathroom is not big, but it gives people a comfortable feeling. The water policeman who took a bath has already stored him, and the entire pool is filled with water. Soaking in the water so comfortably, this feeling really hasn't been for a long time. Jung Tai took a long sigh of relief, so comfortable. The time in the bath became long, and I was leaning on the bathtub too much, drowsy. Gradually, time passed by little. The water is getting colder. But under the control of Masada Lava Quirk, the bath water returned to temperature. The whole bathroom is in the clouds and mist, because too much water vapor evaporates. Finally I felt comfortable, and I got out of the bathtub after taking a bath. Wrap your bathrobe comfortably and wrap your head with a bath towel. After coming out, Masada found a cup of hot milk on the table. Hero, you finally came out. I thought something happened to you in the bathroom. This is the milk I warmed for you. It's most comfortable to drink a cup of hot milk after taking a shower. The policeman was sitting in the living room, among the kotatsu in the living room. He sat in the kotatsu and watched TV. The TV shows were very classic and funny variety shows. Masada sat opposite him, holding hot milk in both hands, drinking a little bit, and watching this show with him. This kind of leisure time, I hope he can extend it indefinitely. Advertisement, I'm sleepy. The policeman stretched his waist for a long time, and it was time to go to bed. The policeman looked at Masada and said with a smile, I never thought that one day I could sit in the same room with Lava Hero, and watch TV in the same kotatsu. Masada said, it seems that I am still very popular. If I can, I hope this time can be extended indefinitely. Masada stood up and went back to her room. The room was very small, with only one bed and a small table, but this kind of space was warm enough. As long as there is a bed that is enough to sleep, there is a soft quilt, can sleep a good night, come back to watch TV after work every day. This kind of life seems to be good too. She fell asleep too deeply. Coming the next day, it was raining in the sky, and Masada was awakened by the sound of a horn outside. Mr. Police, Mr. Police? Jung was rubbing his eyes in a daze. However, the police immediately rushed to his room, hugged Jungma's mouth, and made a hissing gesture. The situation is critical, speak quietly. Mr. Police, what's the matter? Just too quietly asked. Then the policeman pressed his wife's ear and said softly, I got up as usual. After getting up, I heard noisy horns outside. Because of my physique, I was very careful. I just separated from me. Looking out the cat's eyes of the door of the house, I saw a group of people in black blocking the left and right sides of the door. Jengma is a little admired that the police have such troublemaking quirks, so they can live so long. The police continued. The cat's eye at my door was specially made to see everything in front of my door. What arrived was Januo's car and the black car that circled his car. She frowned too much, and this situation should not be underestimated. In other words, did they take Jano a hostage? Jung too quickly came to this conclusion. Mr. Danger nodded, indicating that Mr. Tai was right. Well, you are right, that's it. Then what should we do now? We want to save Mr. Jano. Masada left the bed, went to the window, and raised a little curtain. Sure enough, Januo's car was surrounded by a group of black cars, unable to escape. Advertisement. For flowers, and Januo was sitting in the car, and there was a man in black sitting in his passenger seat, holding a gun to his head. Hero, what do you think we should do? The policeman took out the gun from his drawer and put on his work clothes. Villains is holding a gun against Jano's head. The bullet will penetrate his skull faster than I can go to the rescue, so the attack must be undesirable. Jung Tai frowned and started. Analyze calmly. Moreover, there is a villains to supervise us at the door. It is estimated that there are people under the window. If this is the case, we are probably surrounded. The police added. I closed my eyes too much and felt it with my heart. He felt that there was indeed human-shaped heat outside the room. Asterisk. 0. If this is the case, we may have to communicate with villains to see what they want. Masada said so. Well, the other party surrounded us like this and didn't kill us, probably because we have what we want, right? The confusing impression brought by the police's change of body shape. He is always smart and capable when working. Feel. Let me negotiate, Masada said. Yeah, the police did not refute. Because Masada is the #1 hero, after all, and he is almost immortal, it would be better to let him negotiate. Although it has worked, the police also put his life within the scope of consideration. There is no bad habit of sacrifice for no reason. Masada nodded, took a deep breath, opened the door, and walked outside. Da 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 da. The gunfire sounded. The dense rain of bullets vented towards Masada, like weaving a large firepower net. Even if a mosquito passes by, it will be torn to pieces by the violent bullet rain. However, the bullet only passed through Masada's body, igniting a flame wave of lava. On Masada's body, the ripples of lava fluctuated violently. Are you finished? Masada's voice came coldly. Although he has lost his memory, it does not mean that he will not be angry. If it was Mr. Danger who just went out, then Mr. Danger is probably dead. Masada considers Mr. Dangerous as a friend. Anger spread from my heart. Lava Hero, got angry. Long. Chapter 408 Angry Lady Advertisement Boom. Flames rose up. The lava burst every inch by Masada's side. Masada's side was like firecrackers, and the flames continued to rise. The bullets were disturbed by the turbulent flow of flames and bounced back onto the bodies of those people. Magma didn't even start to burn them personally. Cut. Going downstairs too slowly. The corridor is also hiding people like just now. But Masada was fearless. As soon as those people appeared, they were lightly ignited by Masada's lava and burned them. Masada didn't even look at the miscellaneous soldiers. Lava was burning all the way, and there was a lava road where Masada walked. Those guns had no effect on Masada at all, but those people still attacked Masada happily. Hearing the gunshots outside, the family dared to show their heads, and all of them flinched and hid in their own house. 480. Masada smashed all the way, and soon arrived in front of the team of black cars. From the black car, came down a middle-aged man wearing a black hat. He looked behind Masada and said, It is said that Lava Hero, is soft-handed and likes to be merciful. This is not like being merciful. Behind Masada, it was like hell, and the dying man in black fell to the ground without any vitality. Masada didn't keep his hands, everyone was put to death. I don't know if you have misunderstood something. I am not the Lava Hero, you know. If you find him, please come back. Masada looked at the other party with a serious face, and added, Of course, the premise of going back is to leave him with me. Masada pointed to Januo in the car who was rushed to the 6 points of the sun. Januo was trembling and crying. He didn't want to die, never wanted to. Oh, whether he can live or not, we still have the final say. His life and death are all in my hands. I said he can live, and I say he die, he will. With that said, the middle-aged man compared his hand to a gun gesture and fired a shot at his temple. You know, she frowned too. What do you want? Just ask a question. What we want, as he said, the middle-aged man took out a black pistol from his waist. Advertisement, it's your life. Boom. The gunfire rang and the middle-aged man fired. Masada felt a slight pain in her heart. This bullet actually hit him in the body and caused him harm. How? This is our special energy bomb. I heard that the Lava Hero, is back, but I was so excited to die. As long as I can kill the Lava Hero, the #1 hero, that can destroy the world, the reputation of our Taniguchi gang will definitely grow greatly and become a first-class gang. Whether he is an AFO or a demon, it will all be used by me. Masada clutched her heart, and lava rose from her hands. I advise you not to move. However, the middle-aged man gently turned sideways, and the appearance of Januo being pointed at by a gun appeared in Masada's eyes again. Cut. Masada took the lava back. Bang bang bang. 3 gunshots. All 3 shots hit the Masada accurately. Masada vomited blood. However, Masada had no way to counterattack the person in front of him, because this person would die if he gave an order. Masada feels pain all over. The energy bomb hurts Masada's whole body, and the pain will be dispersed no matter where it hits. Although the advantage of this is that Masada will not be too severely damaged to fight because of a single place, but the disadvantages are also obvious. Even if it is only hit in one place, it will cause pain throughout the body. What was originally a broken hand may eventually become paralysis of the whole body. Almost. Masada fell to the ground, squinting at Januo who was kidnapped. Goodbye, Lava Hero, the middle-aged man raised his gun. Gently pulled the trigger. Boom, Masada was hit by a bullet. However, the figure hit by the bullet turned into a pool of bubbles, and the bubbles that turned into lava disappeared. Shot. Middle-aged people look back for the first time. However, what he saw was that Masada, carrying Januo on his back, had already left the car. Masada clutched her heart, took 2 steps, and suddenly fell to the ground. Advertisement the bullet before it really hit him. He hasn't remembered the use of quirk yet. Everything just now was born out of his anxieties. Some lava was generated in that car, and then transmitted to the car at the fastest speed, controlled the person holding the gun, knocked the gun, and then rescued Jano. The precision required for this process is extremely high. Masada was covering her heart. If it was her previous self, maybe he wouldn't even be injured and he would be able to rescue Januo, right? After all, the #1 hero, but that's the end of the matter. Call. The gunfire sounded. Masada dodged again. This time he dodged the bullet with Jano on his back. The speed of energy bombs is much slower than that of ordinary bullets. It was even more so that Masada, who could have dodged bullets, wanted to dodge this energy bomb. Before, I was able to hide, but I couldn't hide. Now I don't have this scruples. However, the pain in the body still made Masada sweat a little. The pain is slowly diminishing, and as Masada's body recovers, the pain gradually disappears. Mr. Danger swallowed, looked at Masada and said, if it's not surprising, their purpose. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. Chao Nuo continued. Then someone recognized me and arrested me. On the way, I found that there were many people in black searching everywhere. On the way, the policeman before. The bureau was also surrounded. Masada didn't answer his words. After putting Januo on the ground, she panted heavily and couldn't get her breath back on the ground. After seeing Jano, Mr. Danger was obviously relieved. Mr. Januo, how did you meet those 4.8 people? Masada asked. After all, those people seem to be organized and disciplined gangs. Lava, blasting hell, 3 bullets hit, even a well-trained soldier will faint with pain. Said, as expected of Lava Hero, he can rescue people in such a dangerous environment. Jano replied, Hero, it's incredible. They surrounded all the places you might be, the hospital I went to first, and it turned out that someone had surrounded the hospital. I sneaked in, only to find they have arrested the psychiatrist. This is no joke. Masada nodded and said, their purpose is me. Masada took advantage of the lava and immediately returned to the house. As soon as Masada entered the room, he saw the person behind Masada's back. Chao Nuo widened his eyes and said, the whole London gang has rioted. Mr. Danger is still in the room, against the wall, ready to move. The ground was red and hot, and then billowing lava boiled from the ground, and a column of soaring lava erupted. This area was submerged. Chapter 409 Crazy Fog City Advertisement. The police siren neighed outside. This place can't stay long, let's leave here first, Mr. Danger said. He put on casual clothes. Just taking a rest, it can be regarded as recovering most of the injuries. Okay, let's set off right away. Masada stood up. Masada was still sweating, but it didn't hurt as much as before. Januo wiped off his sweat on Masada. Where shall we go next? Masada carried Januo and the policeman behind his back. He used the rope from the policeman's house to tie the 2 men firmly behind his back. When Masada carried the 2 men behind her back, she felt a sense of déjà vu. This scene seems to have happened somewhere. However, Jung was too soon relieved. If you want to use physical strength to transport people, besides carrying people on their backs, hugging, and carrying, what other methods are there? I was a superhero, before, so I should have done this many times. He paused too much, ready to set off. Mr. Lava Hero, you go first. I will show you the way. Let's go to an absolutely safe place and get in touch with the Hero, Association, the police said. Jung nodded his head too. His figure looked like a stream of light, and he swept out directly. Masada was riding on the wind, stepping on the white clouds, and lava streamer under his feet. It was the first time for the police to fly in the sky like this, overlooking the entire city. The whole city was full of fire. The gangs started to make trouble, and the silent big gangs, or those small groups that usually made troubles, all emerged at this time. Their purpose is only one, kill the Lava Hero, as long as they can kill the Lava Hero, that person's status in the underworld will definitely jump 1,000 miles. Masada has become a benchmark. It can be said that the altar in Hero, makes the underworld love and fear the existence. If you kill him, you can become famous in one fell swoop and become an object of admiration for everyone, but you are afraid of meeting Masada. Because Masada's strength is something the whole world knows. Advertisement. If it is normal, these underworlds will be concerned about Masada's strength. Although they are looking forward to defeating Masada and become the supreme on the road, they will not dare to act rashly because of his strength. However, at this time, there was news that the first Lava Hero, had amnesia. As soon as the news came out, it immediately attracted the attention of the major forces. Finally, it was proved that this news was from Tamura Shigaraki, the first disciple of AFO, and it caused the whole underworld to boil. Now there has been a wave of finding and killing the Lava Hero, Masada was in the sky, looking at the riots in the city below. She couldn't help but swallowed. Did she really have such a big influence before she lost her memory? He looked into the distance. That's the direction the police pointed. The police pointed to a mountain. Soon, he flew to the mountain, and the whole process was unexpectedly easy. Under the guidance of the police, Masada soon went to a temple in the mountains. There was a big Buddha statue in the temple. The police felt under the futon in front of the Buddha statue. The sound of moving stones came, and the sound of rumbling gradually came out. A secret tunnel appeared on the sealed stone wall next to it. Mr. Danger, where is it? It's too strange. How could this policeman know such a hidden tunnel? It would be too strange to say that this tunnel was built for the police alone. This secret road, Hero, you also know my quirk. My quirk is too dangerous. Sometimes I can't control the dangers I bring. I eat the king's meal from around, or the robbers go to destroy the city, to destroy the world. They all vary in order, and the triggering of these events is illogical. Mr. Danger touched the back of his head and said, so in order to have a huge crisis around me one day, I still want to live. The police said so. He continued, if it really can be saved, I want to live. Mr. Hero, am I very selfish in thinking like this? Jung sighed too much and said, you are right, as long as you are a normal person, you don't want to die. You have such a quirk, it's really difficult for you, you really did your best. The police looked at the secret road in front of him and said, this secret road is a secret road that I took my salary for 3 years and I asked someone to develop it. I just thought that if one day, when the city is doomed to escape, I can still save it. A small number of people. I can only think of such a way to save a city-level disaster. No, this is not a rescue. This is just a way to save. Some people survive only, a very, very small part. Advertisement, the most addictive games, no one under 18, no one under 18, no one under 18. Mr. Danger sighed. Mr. Lava Hero, let's go in. There are complete communication equipment in it. As long as you contact the Hero's headquarters, this crisis will definitely be resolved. Jung nodded too much and walked inside. As soon as I entered and walked 2 or 3 steps, Masada saw that this room was actually a technological room. The police were a little surprised when he saw Masada, so he explained. In fact, this secret road was built by my idea at the beginning, but after it arrived, my colleagues and some scientific researchers learned about me, and they all invested money and built it. Such an emergency shelter. Masada walked to the very center of this room. I'll be responsible for contacting. With that said, Mr. Danger sat on the console, his hands crackling and he didn't know what he was pressing, but 480 looked at him adeptly, giving people a sense of peace of mind. Afterwards, the screen quickly lights up, and a human face appears on the virtual screen. The person who appeared on the screen was a young lady. I don't remember too much, but there is a very familiar feeling. Masada looked at that person's face and felt a little kind. This is the headquarters of the Hero's Association. I received urgent news here. May I ask what happened? The young lady on the screen asked skillfully, holding a pen in her hand, recording something. Mr. Danger immediately replied. The location, the fog capital of England, the underworld power in the fog city rioted overnight, showing an unstoppable trend. The professional Hero's is estimated to be insufficient. This time the scale is too large. Ask for support. As for the incentive. Mr. Danger turned his head and glanced at Masada. The young lady who was recording something raised her head and looked at the screen. The moment I saw the screen, tears flowed down. Justice. You are, Zhang Tai. Don't you remember me? I'm Jiro. Jiro stood up from his position, and suddenly slapped the table with both hands, shocking everyone. Masada has a familiar feeling about this name, but just can't remember it. Jiro smiled and shed tears. Anyway, Lava Hero, welcome back. Chapter 410 Fanaticism. Advertisement. This is not the time to talk about this. Jiro immediately calmed his emotions and looked at Masada and said, you seem to have a particularly large-scale gang riot. This riot has even spread to other cities. Our Hero's Association will dispatch supporting Hero's as soon as possible to support it, but before that, please also ask Lava Hero's to minimize the loss. After that, Jiro changed his style again, suddenly became a little warm, and said, if you can, do your best and don't embarrass yourself too much, everyone. When she said this, her voice became very quiet. Everyone is worried about you, don't do risky things, don't hurt yourself, trust your partners, trust everyone, okay? After Jiro finished speaking, he hung up the call. She should have contacted other Hero's and reported the contact situation here. The Masada didn't explain his situation to her, he didn't know if Jiro understood that he was in a state of amnesia. Mr. Police, are we waiting here until the riot ends? Masada asked after a moment of silence. The police looked at Magma, swallowed, and then said, of course not. Although it is dangerous, let's go out. Hey, didn't we just come here to take refuge? Januo panicked. He was kidnapped by a gang before and his life was hanging by a thread, but now he is going to take risks again. Mr. Jano can stay here. Mr. Danger, you can stay here too. Jung too hesitated for a while, added. Hero's. Do you want to go alone? Jung nodded too much. Is it really okay? Hero's body shouldn't be recovered yet? It should be said that it is the memory of the battle. If it is not recovered, it should not be able to use those powerful moves before losing the memory. The police were a little worried. Before Masada confronted the gangsters in front of the car, the police were also watching. If it was the old lava hero, he would definitely not suffer any damage, and he would be able to leave calmly. Moreover, he can successfully complete the mission and save Jono. However, the current lava hero, obviously forgot a lot of combat experience and simply relies on the powerful quirk to act. It is undeniable that the Masada who has lost his memory, although his body is no different from the quirk, his true strength has dropped by a large amount. The police are very worried about the current Masada. It's okay, Mr. Policeman, I am the #1 hero, right? I can. There are so many people in this city waiting for me to save. With that said, Masada left this secret room. Advertisement. Leaving the secret room, it turns into a bolide. In the sky, Masada saw densely packed people tied up with ropes in the central square of the city. There are so many people in the square that can be described as a pile. At this moment, around the square, a loud sound suddenly came. The sound went straight into the sky. Lava hero, lava hero, Did you hear that? We're in the central square now. If you can hear it, come over immediately. Now there are tens of thousands of hostages in this square. If you don't want them to be killed, roll over right away. From now on, every 5 minutes, I kill 1 person, 2 in 10 minutes, 3 in 15 minutes, and so on, every 5 minutes. I will kill 1 more minute until I kill them all. Masada's eyes were very thin. From the sky, he saw a man with a huge megaphone standing in front of the sculpture in the square shouting. These words are what he said. With that, he raised his pistol. This is the first one, lava hero, can you hear it? The man raised his pistol and pointed at the head of the woman next to him. No, I don't want to die. Save me, lava hero, Boom. Burning flames fell from the sky. A beam of light spread. This light hit the head of the person holding the loudspeaker impartially. When the light disappeared, the arrogant person was gone. Only a piece of ashes remained. It's okay, I'm here. Masada stood in front of the woman. The whole square was boiling. It's lava hero, it's lava hero, lava hero, is here to save us. For a while, the entire square was caught in a carnival. The horror, depression, and the haze were swept away. Everyone was screaming, shouting, and rejoicing for the arrival of Masada. Advertisement, lava hero, is this the lava hero, It's not good, it looks like it's not easy to deal with. In addition to cheers, there was also the voice of villains shrinking. The lava was too hot, melting the ropes on these people, and in the process it didn't even hurt anyone's skin. For a while, the entire square stood up. At this time, the hero, who were waiting for opportunities in various places also started to act. As she watched the lively scene, professional hero, was at war with villains, and those fanatical people also wiped out their fears and began to fight back. Thank you for reading this story at mtlarchive.com. Your support enables us to keep the site running. As he looked at his hands too, he realized how powerful his influence was. Is this the hero, of #1? And this time the casualties of personnel have also been horribly low. Now Masada feels how powerful the enthusiasm that happened to him is. Later, with the insertion of the hero, association, and the intervention of various government and military forces, the riots in the city were so suppressed. And for all these miracles, people agree that the creator of this miracle is Masada. Masada even just came, without any action against the enemy, and put down the riot. Masada clenched his fists, raised the loudspeaker, and said, "Sorry, everyone, I guess it's a good time. I'm going to save the people in the next area." On the 4th day after the riots ended, Masada stood on the podium of the Peace Prize with a dazed expression. In 2 days, it only took 2 days, Masada traveled all over the place where the incident occurred, and carried out many kinds of encouragement and rescue. I had always heard about it before, without any proof. The only fanatics that Masada met were Mr. Danger. After speaking, Masada dropped the loudspeaker and turned into a stream of light and went away. I thought there would be a large number of casualties, but now statistics show that there are fewer than 100 injured, and there are only dozens of dead, which is a miracle. A square full of enthusiastic fans were left behind. He accepted the medal. In fact, in this riot, he just played a role as a sign, and didn't even move his hands a few times. Those scattered gang members fled immediately when they saw him, and most Hero S would cooperate with him. Hero S work. Actually relying on Masada's influence and power, the whole city has been condensed into a united force. This force confronted the underworld forces, and the underworld forces began to retreat steadily.